All right, so hello everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening. Of course, depending on where in the world you're catching me from. It's great to see all of you here today. And welcome to the final webinar of the Black Market event, which is our biggest event for the year. And this is actually the grand finale webinar. So just to check that if you can hear me and you can see my slides, let me know in the chat box. Hello from Portugal. Hello from Hong Kong. Okay, wonderful. Hello from Melbourne, Sam. From Virginia, Manoj. From JB, Ben. From Texas. From Alaska. From New Jersey. From Korea. From Washington, D.C. From Yesh, from Ethiopia. Sorry, mispronounced that. From Amos, from Tampines. From England. From Sydney. From Toronto. From Vancouver. And it's so wonderful to see all of you from all around the world, really. And, you know, to me, this is the most important webinar of all the webinars. Okay. Why? And by the way, if you have not caught the previous webinars, you should have been sent a replay link where you can rewatch all the previous webinars for a limited time period. I think for the next 3 or 4 days. So do catch all the webinars. There's so much to learn. There's so much insights to get from all our mentors, right? So again, why do I say that today's webinar to me is the most important webinar? Because so far, if you have watched all the other webinars, you've learned all the different approaches, strategies to create wealth and to create income in the financial markets. All right. So you've learned about how to invest in growth stocks, how to pick the highest quality growth stocks when they're undervalued so that they will compound your wealth over time. And you've learned about short-term swing trading from Alson, how to trade stocks, futures, cryptocurrencies through short-term price action. You've learned a lot about options from Bang Van Van, from YY, from myself, on how we use options to generate profits in all kinds of market conditions. All right, so you can see that many roads lead to Rome. There are many ways to make money in the stock market. But ultimately, what is the main objective of learning all these strategies? The ultimate aim is you want to create wealth. And what's the ultimate aim of creating wealth? The ultimate aim is you want to be financially free. You want to be financially secure. Is that correct? Okay. So in today's webinar, I'm going to focus on showing you how you can achieve financial freedom faster than 95% of the population out there. Would you be interested to learn that? Great. And to achieve that, it will not happen by chance. It will not happen by accident. You don't wake up one day and say, oh my God, I'm financially free. Thank goodness. It doesn't happen that way. If you want to be financially free in the next 10 years or less, and a lot faster than most people, you got to have a plan. You got to have a concrete step-by-step roadmap on how to get there. And today I'm going to share with you how to create that roadmap. So you know exactly how much capital you need to be financially free. You know how many years it takes to build that capital, what kind of rate of return you need to achieve on your savings. Yeah. So to do all this, you need to have this financial calculator that we have sent to you on your email. Have you guys received our special financial calculator that will help you to calculate all this very easily? And if you have not, we've just posted a link in this webinar chat. So please click on the link and download your special Piranha Profits financial calculator. And in a while, I'm going to show you step by step how to use this calculator. Yeah? Okay, fantastic. So there's a lot to learn today. Take lots of notes, and of course, please participate because this webinar is going to be the most hands-on, where I'm going to get you to make sure that by the end of this webinar, you walk away with that roadmap, with that financial plan, which you have calculated for yourself. And of course, as all of you know, this is the biggest sale of the entire year for all our investment and trading courses and playbooks and software. So people have been waiting months to get up to 60, 75% off. This will continue for this limited period. And for today's finale, we've got some special bonuses when you enroll in whatever programs in this finale. Yeah. So if the guys are ready, let's get going. So first, let me ask you this question. I believe all of you want to be financially free, correct? If the answer is yes, let me know. Okay. So before you can achieve financial freedom, you must first understand what is the definition of financial freedom. In other words, how do you know when you get there? How do you know? Anyone? How do you define financial freedom? How do you know you are financially free? Anyone? Just type your answer. What do you think? Ryan, great. Ryan got the first answer, right? Correct. So you are financially free when your passive income exceeds your expenses. Now, it's important to understand what is the meaning of passive income. So passive income is income you earn without exchanging your time for money. Okay? So let me ask you this question. If you have a job, is that passive or active income? Passive or active? You tell me. Active, great. If you're self-employed, you own your own business, you go to work every day to run your business, active or passive? That's still active. You are an options trader. You trade stocks every day. You make hundreds of thousands, millions. Is that active or passive? That is also active because you got to wake up in the morning, you got to trade, right? Okay. So all those are active income. Passive income comes from owning passive income assets like real estate, like dividend paying businesses, like bonds, like private credit. All these are passive income because once you buy them, you don't have to do anything, right? You make that money every day, every week, every month, every year, whether or not you wake up in the morning. Yeah. So that is when you're financially free. So, question. Okay, question. What does it mean when you're financially free? It means that you have the choice. You have the choice to stop working and be able to fund your lifestyle indefinitely for the rest of your life. Correct? Yeah. Now, does it mean that you have to stop working? That you must stop working when you're financially free? Of course not. Yeah. In fact, how many of you realize that the wealthiest people in the world who are financially free many times over, they still work? In fact, they work harder than most normal people. How have you realized that? Yeah. Have you heard of Elon Musk? Okay, I'm sure you have, right? So Elon Musk, I don't know, is he worth like 300 or 400 billion now? And he's going to be worth 1 trillion, pretty soon, right? So Elon Musk, he doesn't have to work anymore. So why does he still work? In fact, he works harder than all of us. He sleeps on the factory floor. He leads 4 to 5 couples. Why does he do that? He doesn't have to work. Why don't he just go to the beach every day? Why don't he go shopping every day? All right. You look at someone like Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg also worth billions and billions. Don't have to work anymore, but he works every single day, morning to night. Work harder than you and me. Why? Why don't these people work? Why? Okay. Because they realize one thing, which I've realized, right? Which is true happiness and true fulfillment comes only when you have got a purpose in life. All right. And your purpose in life comes from doing what you love and from making a difference in the world, making a difference to other people in your own way, whatever it may be, whether saving children or building rockets or teaching, whatever it is. Make sense? Okay. So, I mean, same thing for me. I'm 51 years old this year, and I reached my financial freedom at 33 years old. That was 17 years ago. And the reason I was able to reach financial freedom quite early was because by nature, I'm quite a frugal person. I'm actually a very frugal person. Right? I don't like to buy branded clothes. I don't like to go to fancy restaurants. I'm a very simple person, right? So because by nature, I've always had relatively very low expenses. I don't have expensive taste. I don't drink. I don't smoke. So it was very easy to be financially free earlier. You get what I'm saying? All right. But for the last 17 years, I didn't have to work anymore, but I still work. I still work every single day. But admittedly, I don't work as hard as Elon Musk, of course. Okay. In fact, I only go to my office once a week. I only do YouTube videos when I feel like doing it, maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks. And I do these live webinars only once every 3 or 4 months. Okay. And people always ask me over the years, they say, Adam, why do you still want to create videos? Why do you still want to teach? Every year you make so much, millions and millions in the market. What do you want to teach for? Okay. And I can tell you the reason why. Because once you make enough money to cover all your expenses, you get pretty bored. Okay. And you can only go shopping, sit on the beach for a few days. After a while, you go crazy. Okay. And if you stop working, you get dementia. I've got some friends who retired early with all their money, now got dementia, right? You got to do something. But I can tell you that one of the reasons why I love what I do, I love teaching, I love managing a community is because it makes me feel important. Okay. It makes me feel needed. It makes me feel appreciated. All right. Like Thanksgiving was a few days ago, and I got all these emails. I got all these messages every single day, and some of them are really touching. This is from Kok Chien. I'm guessing he's from Singapore, given his name, or maybe Malaysia, right? And he said, good evening, Adam. Tonight on this Thanksgiving is a perfect time to express my deep gratitude. I want to thank Adam and the entire team. My investment journey began when I was a teenager. I experienced a harsh lesson early on, losing my first bucket of gold in Forex in 30 minutes. Despite that setback, my family saw my interest. Back in 2016, my father signed up for Adam's masterclass, and that's where my investment story truly began. After the courses, I dedicated a year to demo trading and investing. Life then took on a detour. I stopped for 3 to 4 years. After high school, I felt lost and miserable. I didn't go to university. I spent 3 years trying my hand at entrepreneurship, and made even tougher when COVID hit. I felt like a complete failure, stuck without any progress. Everything changed when I rediscovered Adam's videos and books. They gave me a sense of a second chance. While the world was grappling with the pandemic, I made the courageous decision to step out of my comfort zone, resume my studies majoring in international economics, return to the markets in 2020. Now, almost 5 years later, proud to have achieved at least 3 years of double-digit positive returns. While pursuing my degree, I'm also living my dream of building a career in the financial sector. Reaching this personal milestone today, I can't fully express my appreciation except by writing this message. Thank you to Adam, right? And then Christopher, who I just interviewed on video. You can watch the interview on our Piranha Profits website. He said, Adam, it's been 2 years since I opened an account with Interactive Brokers, subscribed to UIP with Piranha Profits. Till now, my portfolio is up 121% in 2 years. I'm just a taxi driver in Singapore and not well educated, but very proud of myself for taking up the investment courses with PP. Very fortunate. Currently, my net worth is about 300,000 US dollars, right? So, every day I get this. Every day I get this. And I can tell you that this means more to me than a new car I could buy. Means more to me than a branded shirt or bag. Well, I don't like bags that I could buy, right? And that is what I do. And a lot of people don't understand. That is what I do. So when people ask me, Adam, when will you stop teaching? When will you fully retire? The answer is never. In fact, my dream is not to die on the bed. My dream is not to die in a hospital. My dream is to die while doing a live webinar. That's my dream, okay? And I want to die after I say something profound. Like after a webinar, I say, live your life to the fullest and may the markets be with you. And I'm gone. That's my dream, right? You know why? Because whoever listened to that webinar, they will remember that message forever. Live my life to the fullest. Yes. Okay, that'll be the ultimate message, right? So that's my dream anyway, okay? Hopefully it will not happen too soon. Hopefully it will not happen too soon, right? Okay. So that's what I do, right? So, and I've been teaching, very fortunate, I've been teaching for 20 years. In fact, I started my first investing masterclass in 2005. And in the old days, I used to teach physically. I would travel all around the region, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and everywhere to conduct this Wealth Academy Investor Masterclass. And back in 2006, I was on the cover of the Pulses magazine. This was a publication of the Singapore Stock Exchange. And I was on the cover after 1 year of teaching investing because at the time, I was one of the first Singaporeans to invest in US markets because it was not common at the time. Because for Singaporeans to invest in the US at the time was very expensive because internet trading, internet brokers did not yet exist. So you had to literally call someone from the US and buy from the US. It was very expensive, right? But as online trading became more popular, right, I started doing that. I started teaching people how to go online and how to trade US stocks online. And at that time, no one, I wouldn't say no one, but hardly anyone in Singapore had heard of ETFs, exchange traded funds. So I was one of the first Singaporeans to buy US ETFs over 20 years ago. And so during my seminars, I'll tell people, if you don't know how to pick US stocks, buy the US S&P 500 ETF. All right. So I was one of the pioneers of ETF investing. And so I was like the poster boy of ETFs back in the day, right? So that went on for some time. And then what happened was in 2016, I started Piranha Profits, which was basically the online school where now I don't have to travel physically everywhere. All right, I teach everything online. And the reason I did that was because a lot of people started to fly to Singapore for my investment courses, all the way from Switzerland, Japan, US, UK. And they said, Adam, there are many people who can't afford to fly to Singapore, pay for the hotel to attend your course. Why don't you teach this online? Now, bear in mind, this was 2016, where learning online was not common, right? People were not used to that. But I launched it in 2016 with my YouTube video, but it was very slow. We had very few people learning online. They were not used to it. But then 2020 came, and that was the pandemic, and suddenly no one could go out. Everyone stuck at home, and then everyone started to learn online. So that's how Piranha Profits became viral, and that's how my YouTube video became viral, hit 1 million views, right? And I don't know if any of you remember, I had this video where I shared how in March 2020, when the Fed was going to pump money into the economy, that the market would explode higher. And everyone said I was crazy. They say, oh, the market's going to go into a depression. It's going to last for, the recession will last for years. The market's going to die. I say, no, I'm buying. And this Coke bottle that sprayed everywhere. Any of you remember that, by the way? Idea is asking, did I write a book? I've written 16 books, by the way. If you go online, type Adam Khoo books, you're going to count there altogether 16 books which I wrote, right? So that's how it became viral, and that's how we got to where we are today. Today we've got over 24, in fact, more than that, right? I'm just guessing, but it's more. It's 24,000 students from 130 countries in my community right now, and it's like growing every single year. So as you guys know, this didn't happen overnight. I didn't, be able to teach investing overnight and be financially free overnight. I went through many milestones, and I thought today I'd like to start off by sharing a bit about my journey, how I started to get to where I am. Would you like to learn or like to hear that story? Okay. So let me share with you a few milestones. So the first milestone in my life was this one, where I was featured in all the national newspapers in Singapore, the Straits Times, the Business Times, and the Streets, and all that. Yeah, where I made my first million at 26 years old. And it happened in the year 2000, actually, when I was 26. But this article, as you can see, this article was published 27 September 2001. Yeah, how many of you were not born yet, by the way? Anyone not born yet in 2001? Okay. Yeah, so this was my ex-girlfriend, who's now my wife. In fact, we were married in 2000. Okay, so this is my 25th wedding anniversary. And I'm still thinking about what to do, something special. If you've got any ideas, let me know, right? But I was going out with her for about 7 years before we got married. So I've been together with her for 32 years. Yeah, and actually, when I first met her, I was in the army. I was a poor army boy doing my national service, and she's a few years older than me. So she was already working as a financial advisor with AIA, making a lot of money in their $1 million round table. So in the early years, she was like my sugar mummy. Okay, so she's the one that kind of like paid for everything, paid for all the food. I no money, she gave me money sometimes. Okay, so that's pretty good deal, right? So when people ask me, they say, are you sure your wife didn't marry you for money? I say, confirm. Because that time I got no money. She had more money than me. Okay. So yeah, so that was the first milestone. And the second milestone, uh, Vino said what? Happy come to New Zealand. Actually, I'm actually going to New Zealand next week. All right. Yeah. Interesting that you said that. Okay. Sorry, where was I? Okay, yeah. So this was the first milestone. And my second milestone was when I reached my financial freedom, when my passive income was more than my expenses, and that was when I was 33 years old. Okay, and then again I was featured in the press and stuff like that. I was ranked the top 25 richest Singaporeans under the age of 40, and this was back in 20. What date was this again? I forgot. 2006. Yeah, December 2006. So I'm starting off this webinar by sharing all this with you, not to impress you, not to show off to you, but I want to hopefully inspire you. That says, if I can do it, anyone can do it. If you have the right strategies, if you've got the right attitude, right? And teaching for over 20 years, there are so many people who have done it. So many of my students have done this. And two of my most famous students are Bang Fan Van and Alson, who are now my fellow mentors and my fellow trainers who started as my students many, many years ago. Okay. And Bang and Alson are also financially free many, many times over. All right. And if you look at Bang Fan Van, by the way, how many of you managed to watch his webinar, Bang Fan Van? Did you guys watch his webinar? Okay. And I can tell you that Bang is someone who's extremely inspiring because now, of course, Bang achieved his financial freedom, of course, much later than me because of his circumstances. Now, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky because I'm born in a place called Singapore, where we have the best education, the best government. We've got all the resources you need to succeed. So it's very tough to fail in Singapore, okay? But Bang is, I think he's 6 or 7 years older than me, if I'm not wrong, right? So Bang was born in the 60s, okay? And he was born in war-torn Vietnam after the war. And when he was born, what happened was his family tried to get him out of Vietnam. And so, how many of you remember many years ago, there were these Vietnamese refugees, the boat people who were on the boats and they were going all around the world in their boats that were going to sink? You remember that? Yeah. So, if you didn't know that, Bang, as a child, he was one of those Vietnamese refugees on those boats, and called him lucky or unlucky, but he went on his first boat and it sank. And thankfully, he was saved by fishermen, but a lot of his fellow friends died, and he saw them die in front of his eyes. Then he attempted a second journey in a second boat. The second boat also did not make it. And again, he saw a lot of death around him, but again, he survived, right? So in the end, he could not get out of Vietnam because of his failed attempt on the boat, right? So he stayed in Vietnam, but he worked very hard, went to the local school, and then joined Procter and Gamble, which is an American company that had a base in Vietnam. And he worked so hard, he became the first expat that P&G sent out of Vietnam. And I think he was sent to Indonesia, if I'm not wrong. Indonesia, Philippines. He went to many countries and then finally to Singapore. And it was in Singapore where he learned about how to invest, how to trade in the US markets. And that's how everything changed, right? And I don't know whether you know this, but a few days ago, Bang was with his family in a car. He was at the front in a Grab uh, uh, car, and the guy kind of like fell asleep, and Bang kind of like shouted at the last minute when he was going to hit a divider, and the car hit a divider. It was smashed, and miraculously Bang didn't get injured, right? So I think that Bang is one of those people where there's an angel that looks after him every day. It's one of those things because he should be dead many times from the boat sinking to the car. But I always believe that when people are like that, somehow they're here for a reason, right? Somehow there's some divine being that's looking after them, and that's Bang, right? It's pretty amazing. And of course, you got Alson, and Alson achieved financial freedom earlier than me, younger than me, and it's something that I'm really proud of as well. And you have read many of our testimonies from students who have achieved what I've achieved even earlier than me, for a very simple reason, because they learned it earlier. And I wish I did. When I first started investing at 17 years old, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no mentor. There was no Piranha Profits. There was no online training. I just went into the markets blind. Okay. I thought I was very smart, but I was not. And for 7 years, I lost money. The first 7 years, I went in circles. So whatever money I made, I lost, I made, I lost, I made, I lost. I went in circles for 7 years, but I didn't give up. I kept learning from my mistakes. I kept reading and learning and going forward. And when I finally understood how the market works, how the market is manipulated every day by market makers, by the media, all right, by so-called analysts who think they know what they're doing, but they don't know shit, right? When I really understand that you have to understand the fundamentals of the business, when I understand price action, then I started to make money consistently, and then my wealth began to grow. Okay, so I'm here to tell you that it can be done. I'm not the only one. So many people have done it as well, right? But again, success does not happen by chance. Success does not happen by accident. It's not that every day you work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard, and then one day you wake up and say, oh my God, I'm financially free. My God, I'm a millionaire. Does it happen that way? No. Success happens because you make a decision that I want to be successful. And the first decision is to set clear what? Anyone want to guess? Is to set clear what? Is to set clear goals on exactly what you want. Everything in life is created twice. Write this down. Everything in life is created twice. It is first created in the mind and then manifested in physical reality. If you can't see what you want up here first, if you can't visualize your goal, it's going to be really hard to get there. All right. So in a way, I was very lucky because I started setting very clear goals, and I had this vision board starting from a young age. So I started setting these goals when I was about 15 years old. And so who inspired me, right? I had a lot of people who inspired me. And the first person that actually inspired me to invest was my grandfather, my maternal grandfather. He passed away over 10 years ago, right? And that's him when I was in secondary school at the time. Okay. So how did he inspire me? I share with you a bit about that journey. So when I was very young, my grandfather, he would give all the grandchildren, there were many of us, I was just one of many grandchildren. Chinese, they give red packets. We call it ang pao or hong pao during Chinese New Year. So my grandfather would give us all red packets every year since we were children. But he was very different because he didn't just give us cash, he gave us share certificates. And in the old days, there was no internet. So he gave us the physical certificate of the companies, right? And at the time, I didn't appreciate it. My cousins like, why does Akong give us pieces of paper? Why doesn't he give us money? And then my Akong, my granddad would explain. He'll say that if I give you cash, you're paid only once. But when I give you these share certificates, you now own a piece of the business. You are now a business owner. I was like, oh, I'm a business owner. Wow. Okay. And he said that a business is a money-making machine that will pay you for the rest of your life. And I was amazed. I was like, wow, these are money-making machines. So that's when I was inspired to say, you know what, I want to build all these money-making machines that can pay me for the rest of my life. All right. So that's how my akong got me started. And my granddad is an amazing guy, right? I tell you why. So my grandfather, well, first of all, his parents died when he was uh 10, 11, 12 years old, both parents. So he was an orphan and he raised his own siblings, actually, right? So he came from a very, very poor background. And my granddad was never an entrepreneur. He was, not even a director of a company. He was a middle manager that worked in the same company his entire life. That company he worked for is called Lee Rubber. Those of you from Malaysia, you know this company called Lee Rubber. Yeah, my granddad worked there his entire life. So he earned a middle manager salary. But he was very frugal. He wore slippers everywhere. He wore very simple clothes, as you can see. And he drove an old Suzuki car. But he saved everything that he had. And he was a very smart investor. He invested in the stock market, all right? Invested in real estate. And I remember that when he passed away, we were pretty shocked, right? His net worth, and this is after giving away a lot of money in his in his life, right? After giving away a lot of money, after he passed away, he was still worth over $12 million, at least $12 million. And this was, again, 10 years ago. And that really taught me a lesson that, if my grandfather, someone who was a middle manager, he earned a modest salary, not a director, not a business owner, but he could amass millions of dollars simply by being frugal and knowing how to invest. Anyone can do it. So he was my first inspiration, right? Then the next person that inspired me was actually this guy called Ernest Wong, who was my first teacher in neuro-linguistic programming when I attended his motivational program. And in the program, Ernest was the one that taught me about the power of belief, about believing in yourself, about setting goals, about dreaming big. Yeah. And during that program, he introduced me to this guy called Tony Robbins. Who has heard of Tony Robbins, by the way? Yeah, so Tony Robbins, his first book is called Unlimited Power, and I highly recommend you have to read this book. It's a must read. I've read it cover to cover. I can tell you probably more than 20, 30 times, so probably more than that, right? And I made sure that my two daughters also read this book. So it was the first book I read on understanding how to master our thoughts and emotions. So, and then I attended his seminars. I attended Tony Robbins seminars where I walk on fire and all that, right? And what inspired me about Tony Robbins was that he was a high school dropout. His mother kicked him out of the house as a teenager. And despite that, he became a millionaire at 24 years old. And I said, my God, if this high school dropout was a janitor, he could be a millionaire at 24. Why can't I do it? So I was inspired by Tony Robbins. So I set my goal at that time. I remember saying, I'm going to make my first million at 26 years old. So why 26? Why not 24 like Tony Robbins? Why? Anyone can guess? Yeah, because in Singapore, we have to serve the army at a time for 2.5 years. So I said I could go to the army for 2 years and a half. Okay, so add that in, 26 years old. Okay, so I did that, right? So I remember that time I was really a bit crazy. I remember I took a big piece of mahjong paper and I wrote down all my goals. And my first goal was to top my school for the O-level exams. And I was not in a top school, I was in a neighborhood school. My second goal was to go to Victoria Junior College, which was the top junior college in Singapore. My third goal was to make it to the National University of Singapore, NUS, and my fourth goal was to make my first million at 26. I wrote these 4 goals down. I pasted it on my wall, and every day in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll read it to myself, and I would visualize, I would imagine it happening. Where I saw myself in university, I saw myself making that money. And I kept playing that in my head again and again because that was something I learned called the power of visualization. And that really inspired me every day. And I don't know whether have you heard of this book called The Law of Attraction? They made it into a movie as well, The Law of Attraction. So that happened many years later. And when when I watched that movie, The Law of Attraction, I say, hey, I did that before, but I didn't know it was called the Law of Attraction. I say, shit, it works, right? Because every day, and it may sound funny to you, but I actually did this. Every morning, right? I wake up morning, I would imagine all the money in the world flying to me. I would visualize all the money flying to me, right? But of course, we know that if you just imagine and don't do anything, it's not going to happen, right? You cannot just imagine and attract. That's bullshit. You got to take what? You got to take action. You got to do something about it, right? And the great thing is when you set these kind of huge goals, when I said I want to make my first million at 26, what does it force you to do? It forces you to think out of the box. It forces you to do things differently from everyone around you. Because, I mean, if you think about it logically, right, in Singapore, by the time you finish your army and you finish your university, you'll be 24. And your first job, you'd get 1,500 a month at that time. So I calculated that if I graduate at 24, I start working, I make 1,500 a month. By 26, can I make my first million? No, it's impossible. It's impossible, right? So I knew that to make my first million at 26, I can't start working when I graduate. I've got to start working now. So that kind of like forced me to think of all kinds of ways to make money while I was studying. So I did all kinds of crazy things. I had many odd jobs while I was studying. One of my first jobs, in fact, even before 15, was I was a salesperson selling stationery door to door to companies for my friend's father who owned a stationery shop. So I made commission as a salesperson. And I was also a DJ, right? Because I love music. So I was a DJ for a mobile disco company called Razors Entertainment. And I was also a roadie carrying speakers. And I learned the trade of how to DJ. Then, after I made my first $2,000 as a DJ and through my stationery selling, I started my first business at 15 years old called Create Soul Entertainment. And this was my first name card, right? So I started my first mobile disco business at a time with the helicopter lights and the smoke machine and the big coffin with the turntables and all that. So that's how I got started, right? And then I started giving tuition to students in Singapore. And then I started to do seminars where I did seminars on study skills. How many of you heard of mind mapping, by the way? Yeah, I was a DJ. I was also a magician because I love magic and I used to perform magic for children's birthday parties. I used to charge like $100 a night to do magic. So I did all this crazy stuff, right? So I learned mind mapping as a teenager from this guy called Tony Buzan, who was the creator of mind maps, right? But at the time, it was very new in Singapore. People didn't know what was mind mapping, right? So I started to do seminars on mind mapping, on memory skills, on motivation, on goal setting. And that's how I got started. And I used to charge $50 per day per student. And then I charge like $80, right? So I started to do all these things. So while I was studying in secondary school, junior college, university, I was making money through my mobile disco business, my training business, and of course, I wrote my first book. And the good thing was I didn't spend much money. I saved most of it. And then I started investing in the stock market. I started with the Singapore market. Sorry, no, I started with the Malaysian market initially. Invested in Malaysia, Singapore. And then in the late 90s, later part of the 90s, I started with the US markets. And in a way, I was very lucky because that was the big dot-com boom, right? Where stocks went up like crazy. They went up 10, 20% every single day. So that's how I was able to make my first million really fast. I rode the US market in the dot-com bubble. But in a way, I was lucky because I sold everything before the whole thing collapsed. Because at that time, a lot of the valuations were ridiculous. And because I knew how to calculate intrinsic value, I said, no, it's overvalued, right? Sold everything up. I was like, yeah, baby, right? And when it collapsed, I eventually bought it all back in 2020, late 2021, 2022. All right. So that's how that whole thing got started, really. Yeah. So anyway, that was how I built it. And the reason I was able to achieve financial freedom is because I had a plan. Okay. So I went to university, I studied finance, so I use a lot of my financial skills to do financial planning. And today I'd like to share with you how I did that financial plan. In fact, I was very crazy. I had a 20-year plan. Can you imagine that? I had a 20-year plan. And in fact, my initial goal was to hit my financial freedom at 35. But I got there 2 years earlier at 33. I said, I'm there. Okay. So today I'm going to share with you how I created this plan using a financial calculator, which I didn't have at that time. At that time, I used Excel spreadsheet. Right now, I use financial calculator. So are you guys ready to learn? Okay. So I hope you guys have the calculator with you. You have downloaded the calculator either from the webinar chat or you've downloaded it earlier on from the email that was sent to you. Okay, cool. So this is a brand new calculator that my team created. So kudos to them. And I'm going to show you the whole process of how to get there. Okay, ready? Okay, very good. Now, first of all, how much money, how much money do we need such that once we have got the money, it will give us the passive income to pay our expenses for the rest of our life. This is what we call FU money, right? It's called FU money because once you've got this amount of money, you can say to anyone and your boss, F you. No, I'm just kidding. Sounds a bit crude, huh? But I call it your MFFC. Your MFFC, your minimum financial freedom capital. In other words, how much capital do you need? And once you got this capital, you can say to everyone, you know what? I don't need to work anymore, right? Okay. So anyone, can I ask you now to write down, type and guess what do you think is the minimum financial capital you need to be financially free? There's no right or wrong. I'm just curious. Type your answer. Okay, so Jay says 2.5 million, Glenn 2 million, Maggie 2 million, Esther 3 million, Homya 4 million. I see 8 million. I see a lot of 2 millions. I see some 5 million. I see 100,000, 3 million, 4 million, 10 million, 10 million, 3, 2.7, 5, 7. Okay, interesting. So all of you put out different answers. Now, let me ask you this question. Is it the same for all of us? No, it is different for all of us. Why? Because it depends on your lifestyle, depends on how much you spend, right? So if you are someone who's pretty simple, like you say, I don't need to fly first class. I can fly on economy. I'm perfectly happy to fly on budget airlines. I'm perfectly happy to take public transport. I'm perfectly happy to live in a comfortable but small apartment, for example, right? Where I'm pretty happy, if I could spend 5,000 a month for the rest of my life, I'm very happy, right? So if your lifestyle is pretty simple, would it be easier for you to be financially free? Would it be faster? Yes, very fast, right? But if you say, no, I want to live it up. I only fly first class. I only eat at cafes. I only eat at Michelin star restaurants in the evening. And I must drive the latest sports car. I must have the latest gadgets. I need to spend at least 1 million a year to be happy. Nothing wrong, nothing wrong, nothing wrong. But if that's your lifestyle, would you need a lot more money to be financially free? Yes or no? Yes, okay? So it depends on you. There's no right or wrong. I always say whatever makes you happy. Good. So let me tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to help you to calculate, okay, how much money you need to fund your lifestyle. Now, before that, what's the first thing you need to do? The first thing you need to do is to decide what lifestyle do you need. Okay, so ready, guys? Very good. So can you open up your financial calculator? And it should look like this on the first page. Do you have this? If you don't, I'll give you a minute. Okay, good. Now, so the first thing that I want you to do is in this first box here, I want you to key in what are your monthly expenses that you need to fund your lifestyle. Some of you may ask, Adam, is it my current expenses now or what I would like it to be? Okay. Now, the answer is write down what you would like it to be. What you would like it to be for you to be comfortable. Right. So, for example, in my example, I'm just going to put down a very modest 4,000. You put down whatever you want. Let's do this step by step. Can we? Let's do this step by step. If you guys can follow me, if you have typed your number, can you let me know so I know? Okay, got it. Good. Right. Now, next, let me ask you this question. How many years from today do you want to be financially free? Okay, and it's up to you. So let's say now you are 25 and you want to be financially free at 35. So you're giving yourself 10 years, right? So over here, how many years from today do you aim to be financially free? So you put down whatever you want. You can put 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever you want. For this example, I'm going to just put 10 years. Okay? You can put it in your own currency, Yeah. Now, let me ask you this question. Hold on for a while. Don't jump ahead. Okay. If you are spending 4,000 today to fund your lifestyle, in 10 years, do you think it'll still be 4,000? Do you think in 10 years it'll still be 4,000? No, right? Because of inflation, correct? So in 10 years, the expenses you need to fund your lifestyle will be higher than today. Agree? So we need to calculate what are your expenses you need adjusted for inflation. So in this box here, put the inflation rate of your country. So for example, I'm in Singapore. Singapore's inflation rate is long-term 2%. I'm going to put 2%. You put whatever is your inflation rate, right? You want to put 3%, 4%, up to you. I don't know your country, okay? So first, put down your monthly expenses, put the inflation rate, put the number of years from today you want to be financially free. So you put 1, 2, 3. This should automatically come out, which is your inflation adjusted annual expenses in 10 years or in 15 years, whatever it is. Do you guys get that? If you're not sure of the inflation rate, you can put anything between 2 to 3%. 2 to 3%. All right. This is what we call the long-term inflation rate. The long-term inflation rate, right? I mean, certain years is higher, certain years is lower. It's the long-term inflation rate. Okay. Malaysia, I don't know. You can put 3% or 3.5, right? Now you can always change it later. Now, Gene put 10%. Okay. Are you in Indonesia? Maybe, right? Okay. So far, can I check? Have all of you now gotten your inflation adjusted expenses? Have you got that? So now you know how much you need to spend a year to fund your lifestyle in the future, right? Which is, let's say, 10 years or whatever. Okay. So far, so good? Okay, good, cool. Now, click continue to step 2, right? Click on this, continue to step 2. Ready? Go. Now, make sure that this box is ticked. So now we're going to calculate how much financial freedom capital do you need. Again, what is this called? This is called our MFFC. This is called the minimum financial freedom capital. or we call it the FU money. Okay, how much FU money do you need so that you don't have to work anymore if you don't want to? Okay. Now, before we do this, I need to understand a few concepts. Okay, so what are the concepts? Now, the whole idea is this. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. Once you have got this MFFC, okay, once you've got this MFFC, we're going to assume that you put this money into income assets. What are income assets? Income assets are assets that once you put in, you don't have to do anything. They'll pay you cash every year. Example. In fact, I covered this yesterday. What are income assets? Income assets are this. Let me show you the chart here. These are all the different income assets you can put into. Okay. So dividend stocks, you get between 3 to 6% dividend yield, right? These are dividend yield. You put in REITs like Singapore REITs, about 5 to 7%. Corporate investment grade bonds, 4.4%. Government treasury bonds, 4%. Private credit, which I covered yesterday's webinar. If you have not watched it, watch yesterday's webinar. I covered private credit, about 8 to 9% yield. High yield bonds, 5.77%. Income, closed-end funds, 9%. Okay. So what you will learn in my courses, the income investing course, is that this MFFC, we put it into these income assets. Okay. And we need to diversify. Across all these income assets. Why? Why don't we put everything into REITs? Why don't we just put everything into REITs? Or why don't we just put everything into private credit? Or why don't we just put everything into bonds? Why do we need to diversify into all these different income assets? Why? Because all these assets, they perform differently under different economic scenarios. Make sense? So for example, if interest rates go up a lot, bonds will not do well, right? But private credit will do very well. So they offset, understand? If interest rates keep dropping, private credit will not go up as much, but it won't drop as well, right? You'll do okay, but if interest rates drop a lot, then you find that bonds will do very well. So they offset each other. So like what I taught yesterday, no one can predict the next recession. Will we always have recessions in the future? Yes or no? Will we always have recessions in the future? Yes, we will. Confirm. When? I don't know. No one can predict. Even the smartest economists in the world can't predict the next recession. So the whole point of investing is not to predict the next recession. The whole point of investing is to have a diversified portfolio so that whether there's a recession or no recession, high interest rates or low interest rates, we get our consistent passive income. Understand? Okay? So in the income investing course, I teach you how to create a diversified group of income assets so that they become like a resilient all-weather portfolio. They will continue to pay you in all situations. Okay? Okay. Now, to be conservative, we will assume that by investing in all these income assets, we'll assume that your average yield, your dividend yield, okay, would be 5%. This is being very, very conservative. Understand? So that means that every $100 that you put in, you will get $5 of cash dividend every year. Is that clear, everyone? Is that clear, everyone? Okay. Now, those of you who attended my webinar yesterday, I showed you my actual income portfolio, which is this one. Okay. So you can see like this year, my total passive income, which is my dividend plus my interest from my bonds, total 421,000. And that is enough to cover all my expenses. In fact, a lot more than that, right? Now, this portfolio that I have, total, I've got 7 million worth of dividend stocks and bonds and private credit and REITs. So 421,000 out of 7 million, my yield is about 6%, roughly about 6%. Okay. But again, to be conservative, I would say for this exercise, let's put 5%. Yeah. And as I shared yesterday, in my income portfolio, about 33% are in dividend stocks, 23% in bonds, 15% in private credit, 29% in REITs. Okay, so that is my current makeup right now. So I just want to get you to understand that part. Okay, so let's go back to our calculator. So make sure you click this and let's scroll down. So I need you to put down 3 things. 1, 2, and 3. So let me explain step by step. Are you guys with me? Can I explain step by step? Okay. So in the first box, I want you to type the number of years that this passive income needs to last. So let me give you an example. So in other words, this tells you from the time you're financially free to the time you die, how many years must it last? So for example, if you plan to be financially free at 50 years old, and you think you're going to die at 85, okay, how many years must that passive income last? How many years? 35 years. Understand? So it's up to you. You decide. If you say, Adam, I'm going to live to 100 years old. Okay. If you want to live to 100 years old and you are going to be financially free at 50, then this will be 50. Is that clear? So you put whatever you want. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to put 35 years here. You put whatever you want. You can put 35, you can put 40, right? Iris is asking, Adam, what's your ideal distribution be at age 60, 70 versus your age 50 portfolio distribution? Iris, if you're referring to my income portfolio, which I showed you, which is the bonds, the private credit, the dividend stocks, right? At 55, 60, 70 years old, I wouldn't change that allocation. It's the same. There's no difference, right? Okay, so that's the first thing you put in. Now, if you plan to be financially free at 35 and live to 90, then how many years does it need to last? If you plan to be financially free at 35 and live to 90, how many years do you need to last? That's right. Then you need 55 years. Understand? Okay. So that's what I put in. Next is put in what is the yield you're going to get on your capital. So like I told you, to be conservative, we're going to put 5%. We're going to assume that every $100 you put into the income assets, you get $5 cash every year. Okay, $5 cash every year. Now, as I showed you, I'm personally getting 6%. Okay, but I want to be conservative, you can put 5%. Now, if you want to put 6%, you can as well. It's up to you. Okay. Okay, next, I want you to put down when you die, how much money do you plan to have left for your children? Okay, now if you are someone who says, I'm going to leave them nothing, I'm going to die with 0, and you put 0. Okay, if you say, okay, when I die, there's going to be 5 million left, okay, then you put 5 million. It's up to you. It's up to you, huh? Okay. Now, if you have already bought insurance policies, so when you die, your dependents get an insurance payout from the insurance policy, then you don't have to technically leave behind anything. Okay, so it's up to you. Yeah. Now, for the purpose of this exercise, I'm gonna put 35 years 5% and 0 here for the purpose of this exercise. But you put whatever you want, okay? So what's my answer? Once I put in all these numbers, what's my FU money I need? I need 1.005 million. That's what I need. Now, all of you should have a different answer here. All of you should have a different answer here. Could you type your answer that you got? I'm curious to see. What did you guys get? Okay, so some of you got 2.1 million. Michael, 3.5. Esther, 1.4. Sheng Li, 2 million. Soon Happy, is it? 728K. Farid, 1.6 million. Jay Ang, 1.7 million. Abigail, 2.5 million. 2.6. 750K, 1 million. 2.6. 1.3. Okay, so most of you would be around 2 million. Tanya, 6.7 million. Michael, 5 million. Rest of you 1.5, 2.9, 1.2. Okay, most of you is about 2 to 3 million. I think that's the average. Okay, so there's no right or wrong. I say there's no right or wrong, whatever makes you happy. And you can always change it later. You can always recalculate. Okay, Lok Swaran says 3.3 million. Okay, cool. Are you happy with your figure, by the way? How many of you have a number that is higher than you thought or lower than you thought? I'm just curious. If it's higher than you thought, type higher. If it's lower than you thought, type lower. I'm curious to see. Oh, most of you say lower. Okay, interesting. Most of you say lower. Cool. Some higher, but most of you say it's lower. All right. Great. So now you know your MFFC. You know your FU money. All right. What's the next step? Continue to step 3. Click on this. Click on this. Continue to step 3. Ready? Go. Okay. Now we are going to figure out how to get there. Okay. How do we get from now to our MFFC? So the first thing is click on this, where we want to find out what investment return we need to get here, right? So can you click on this one? By default, it should already be click on this. You get that? Okay, good. So scroll down and you need to type in 3 things. 1, 2, and 3. Only 3 things, okay? First, I want you to type what are your current liquid assets today? How much do you have today that you can invest, okay, to build that capital? So this would include, let me write this down. This would include the cash you have. It includes your current investment into stocks currently, into bonds, into mutual funds, your CPF, your EPF, or your 401k. Okay. It also includes second property you may own, right? If you own more than one property, your second property, if you liquidate it, if you sell it, minus the debt, what is left, right? So put down your current liquid assets. Okay. Now, your current liquid assets, it should not include the house you're living in. Okay, don't include the home you're living in. Don't include that, right? But you can include a second or third property, your CPF, your 401k, your EPF, your stocks, your bond, everything. You put it there. Understand? Yeah, you can include your CPF, 401k. Yeah. Put it there. What you have in gold or Bitcoin if you have. Yeah. Whatever, right? Okay. So now for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to put 50,000. Okay. So you put whatever is your current liquid assets. Yeah. So your CPF includes your ordinary account and your special account. But if you want to be conservative, then just put your ordinary account. If you want to be conservative, just put your ordinary account. Because your special account, you're limited to what you can invest in. There are many things you can't buy anyway, all right? Okay. Next, I want you to put down how much you can save every year from your income. Okay? How much can you save every year from your income? Because every year, the idea is to spend less than you earn, and every year you save an amount which you can put into your investments to grow to hit your MFFC. So put out how much you can save a year. So for the purpose of this exercise, I'm just going to put 12,000. You put down how much you can save a year. So you should save at least 10% of your annual income, right? 10% of your annual income, or if you can even say 15, 20% or more, right? Put it in. Got it? Okay. Next, put in how many years you are going to give yourself to reach your MFFC. And earlier on, the target I set for myself in this example was 10 years, right? So you put whatever you want here. Yeah, includes dividends reinvested, right? Okay, so in my example, you can see that for me to hit my MFFC in 10 years, starting with 50K today, saving 12K a year, how much return do I need on my money? I need to get 25% return. Can you see? It will tell you what return you need on your savings and capital today to hit your target in 10 years. So all of you should have a different number. Do you guys got your number here? Can you type your number? 28%, 25%, 0, 14, 30, 25, 39, 10. Okay. Now, some of you say, I got a negative number. If you got a negative number, what does it mean? If you got negative number, means you're already financially free. You're already financially free. That's why you got negative number. Okay. Now, question. If you think that this number is too high, it's too aggressive, it's not realistic. Like if I think, oh, get 25% a year for 10 years, I don't think it's realistic. Okay. So if you don't think it is realistic, like it's too high or too difficult, what can you do? What can you do? Can you always give yourself more time here? Can you give yourself more time? So if you say, okay, I'll give myself 15 years instead, now is it easier to get there? Does it get lower? Yes or no? Or you think I plan to save more, instead of saving 12,000, I'm going to save 20,000, then your return required is lower. Can you see that? So you can always adjust your annual savings and adjust your target time frame to get a number that you are comfortable in growing your money at. Is that clear? Is this useful? Okay, now we can also do it the other way around. If you scroll up, click on this one. How long will it take to reach my goal? Click on this one. We can calculate another variable. Okay, so scroll down. Now, same thing, put down your current liquid assets. How much do you have now in terms of your cash, your stocks? All right, so let's say 50,000. How much can you save every month? Okay, every year I can save 12,000. Now, this time you put your targeted investment return. Like I told you that for myself, I showed you my long-term track record, right? That in the long term, I'm growing my money over 20, close to 22% for myself personally, right? So if I think that I can get 22% in the long run, then it takes me 11 years to be financially free. Okay. But if you think that, oh, this is too high, too aggressive, I will only give myself 10% easier, then it takes you 19 years. Okay. So you can always calculate the number of years by putting your targeted investment return. Is this eye-opening? How many of you, after doing this exercise, you think that achieving financial freedom is a lot clearer now? It's a lot more possible now. Okay, great. So can you type down, based on this exercise, what investment return do you think you want to achieve in order to hit your MFFC in your targeted time? 10%, 18%, 14%, 25%, 10%, 10%, 10%. Okay, great. And again, there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. Okay, whatever makes you comfortable, whatever makes you happy. Okay, now what's the next step, guys? What's the next step? The next step is I'm going to show you how to get the return that you are looking for. Okay? How to get the return that you are looking for. Now, how many of you, the return that you are aiming to get is about 10% or less? Is about 10, 11, 12% or less. Okay, so I got good news for you. The good news is for you, it's very easy. Why? Because if you take a look at the US markets, which give the highest return of all stock markets in the world over the last 100 years, what do you realize, right? Now, again, this is based on history. No one can predict the future. No one can predict the future, okay? But my guess is the future will be pretty much the same as the past. In fact, I'm more optimistic about the future than the past, personally, okay? Anyway, if you watch my webinar, you know why. Because we're just at the early stages of this AI revolution. And with AI, companies are going to make even more money, become more productive and more efficient, okay? Now, if you look at the last 20 years, and you invested in the S&P 500, which is the 500 biggest companies in the US, okay, you would have gained 670%, which is an annualized return of 10.75%. This is despite going through the great financial crisis of 2008, 2009, and going through other crashes along the way. Like this was the trade war in Trump's first term. We had the COVID crash here. We had the bear market in 2022. So if you just hold through the ups and downs, you hold through all the recessions, your money grow between 10 to 13% without any skill. No need to use any brain. Okay? So if you just want to get 10 to 13%, you just have to constantly invest in the S&P 500, right? So that's the last 20 years. And if you look at the last 10 years, you can see despite crash, COVID crash, bear market here, you can see that over the last 10 years, the S&P gained 221%. Okay? And that's 13% a year in the last 10 years. In fact, let me show you another chart. Right? Which I didn't prepare, so I need to go and find it. Give me a second. Let me go and find this other chart here. Okay, there we are. So this is a super long-term chart. So this shows you the US stock market for the last 121 years. Okay, 121 years. That's from 1904 to the end of last year. Okay. And over 121 years, the market gained 11 million percent. And if you hold through all the ups and downs, all the Great Depression, the World War, the crisis, everything, the crash, your money is growing at 10.04% a year. Okay. Now, people are always afraid to invest in the stock market because they say, oh, what if there's a recession coming? And Michael Burry says that there's an AI bubble, and what if there's a China attack Taiwan? What if there's another tariff, right? People are always afraid of these things. Okay. Now, let me ask you this. How many of you agree that there's always something to worry about? How many of you agree there's always something to worry about? Okay. Now, in this 121 years, were there a lot of crises? Were there a lot of crises? Yeah. We had World War One in the 1916, right? We had the Great Depression. We had World War II. We had the Vietnam War. We had JFK, US president assassinated, the Cuban Missile Crisis. We had hyperinflation in the 1970s, OPEC oil embargo, Black Monday stock crash, Gulf War, Asian financial crisis, dot-com crash, Great Financial Crisis, European debt crisis, 2010 flash crash, US credit rating downgrade, COVID-19 pandemic, US-China trade war, Fed inflation war. We have got always something to worry about. But despite two World War, Great Depression, Great Financial Crisis, Great Pandemic, what happened to the stock market? 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 The stock market keeps going up. Okay? So question, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, will the market be higher than today? Yes or no? Yes, guarantee, chop and sign. Of course. Why? Why? Why do stocks always go up in the long run? Because stocks are businesses. Stocks are businesses, right? And in the long run, businesses will make more and more profits. So in the long run, corporate earnings grow about 8% a year on average. Okay? 8% a year corporate growth. But because they pay dividends, you got share buybacks, okay? You got productivity gains from technology. That's why the market grows 10% in the long run. Okay? Now again, does it go up every year? Does the stock market go up every single year? No, it doesn't go up every year, right? So, but the market goes up a lot more than it goes down. So how often does the market go up? Well, let me show you this next table. So you can see that from 1951 to the end of last year, this year not over yet, but this year the market is up so far about 15% so far this year, right? And in the last 74 years, can you count how many years ended negative? How many years ended negative? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? So 16 out of 74 years, the market ended with a loss. So that's 21.6% of the time. And 58 years out of 74, the market ended with a gain. That's 78% of the time. So what does that mean? That means that if you buy US stocks in January and you hold for 1 year to December, what's your chance of making money on any given year? What's your chance of making money on any random year? Is 78%. Now, are those good odds? Are those good odds? It's not bad, right? I mean, better than going to a casino. You go to a casino, no matter what game you play, your chance of making money is less than 50%. But in the US market, your chance of making money is 78%. If you hold for what? 1 year. Now, what if you hold for more than 1 year? What if you hold for 5 years? Let's say you invested in 1981, but you held it to 1985. What's your chance of ending with a gain after 5 years? Is it even higher? Yes or no? Yes. What if you hold for 10 years? If you hold for 10 years, what's the chance of ending the gain? Is it even higher? Yes or no? Yes. What if you hold for more than 10 years? Okay, so here's the point. Listen very carefully. If you hold stocks for 1 year, US stocks, your chance of making money is 78%. Okay, but if you hold for the long term, you hold for 10 years, for 12 years, or 15 years or more, what's your chance of making money? What's your chance of making money? Your chance of making money is 100%. It is 100%. Why? Why? Because you can see for yourself that when you hold stocks over several years, what happens? The gains from the up years will more than offset the loss from the down years. So you always end up with a gain as long as you stay what? As long as you stay what? You stay invested. Correct. As long as you stay invested through the ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, you always make money. Right? And in the long run, in 100 years, your money is growing at 10% a year. Okay? And like I showed you, in the last 20 years, is growing at 10.75%. In the last 10 years, is growing at 13%. So not only is it growing, but it is accelerating. Why? Why is the stock market growing faster than it has been in the past? Why? What's the reason? Because companies' profit margins are increasing, their earnings growth is increasing because of productivity gains. Because companies are becoming more and more productive. And with AI, the earnings growth will accelerate even more. Does this make sense? Okay. So the point, like I said, if you just want to get 10% return a year, that's your target. Very simple. Very simple. You just put in S&P 500, right? But how many of you want to get to financial freedom a lot faster? If you want to get to financial freedom a lot faster, okay? So if you want to, let me click on this, right? Okay. So let's say you want to get to financial freedom much faster. Like let's say in 8 years, for example, okay, or let's say 10 years, okay, then would you need to get a higher return? The faster you want to get there, do you need to get a higher return? Yes or no? Yes. So can we get a higher return? Yes, we can. But to get a higher return, we cannot just put into the S&P 500 and close our eyes. We cannot just do that, right? We have to use our brain. We've got to use our brain by applying all the strategies we've talked about in all these webinars, from using options trading to Alson's price action trading to my approach of buying the highest quality top 1% of growth companies when they're undervalued. And so that's how me, Alson, and Bang and our students were able to beat the market consistently because we use strategies. Okay? So that's the whole idea, how we put everything together. Yeah? So again, over here, how do you achieve over 15 to 30% returns a year on average? Number one, invest in a portfolio of the highest quality undervalued stocks that beat the index. And you can turbocharge your returns using options, which I do. I trade options almost every day. Example, I give you example, selling covered call options and cash secured put options. And for smaller accounts, if you don't have a lot of cash, you got a small account, you can use diagonal spreads, credit spreads, calendar spreads, which Bang shared and YY also shared about bullish synthetic spreads. So you got a lot of these option techniques where you can achieve the same returns with less capital. So that's why options is a lot more flexible, right? And of course, you can use a lot of the swing trading short-term techniques that Alson teaches to generate even higher returns, right? So these are my returns, which I've shown you before. In 2024, last year, my first account gained 24%. My second account gained 22%. And that was about 1.7 million, right? In 2023, my first account gained 48%. My second account gained 43%. That was 2 million. Now, do you think I can get 40% return every year? Do you think I can get 40% return every year? Of course not. It is not realistic, right? It is not realistic. Now, so certain years I can get 40%. Yes. Certain years I can get 50%. But certain years I may only get 20%. Certain years I may get 15%. Certain years may even be negative. Have I had negative years? Yes. In fact, in 2022, my portfolio was negative in 2022. It was down, I think, 15, 16%, right? So it is unrealistic to think that, oh, every year my portfolio will go up. There's no such thing. You will have ups and downs, okay? But the years my portfolio grows 50%, all right, will it offset the years it goes down 15%? Yes. So it evens out, it evens out. So if you look at my long-term portfolio, this is my portfolio, which I've shown you before. This is the last close to 7 years, all right? From January 2019, when I started UIP, and people can track my portfolio real time. They watch what I buy and sell every day, starting January 2019 to now. Okay, in fact, November, I'm up even more, okay? You can see that my portfolio in blue is up 277%. Versus the S&P 500 that's up 171%. So there's an annualized return of about 21.74%. But again, notice, did my portfolio go up in a straight line? Did it go up in a straight line? Did it go up every day, every week, every month, every year? Yes or no? It's impossible. Okay? It's like, no matter how skillful you are as a pilot, can you avoid turbulence? No, you will, no matter how good you are as a pilot, you will go through turbulence. Okay? But if the right psychology, you don't get worried about the turbulence. Yeah. Now, in the last 6 to 7 years, was it a very smooth market? No, it was one of the most challenging markets in my career, I can tell you that. Because what happened in the last 6 to 7 years? We had two bear markets, right? We had 2020 COVID crash. And then 2022, we had the highest interest rate, highest inflation in 40 years. Market had another bear market. And then we had the Ukraine war. We have the Middle East war. We have Trump's crazy tariffs. What else did we have? We had Silicon Valley Bank collapse. We had all kinds of crises. But despite that, I'm still able to grow my portfolio and beat the S&P 500. So I keep teaching my students, don't be afraid of market crash because they will happen. You don't know when, but it will happen. Don't be afraid of recession. It will happen. No one knows when it's going to happen, right? Don't be afraid of pandemic. Don't be afraid of tariff. It will happen. You can't control it, right? But if you stay invested in good companies that keep making more money over time, then your portfolio will keep growing. Is that clear? So this is what I call investing with zero stress, with zero worries. How many of you would like to master this skill? Can. I've done it. My students have done it, right? Okay. This is my last 10 years, right? So you can see that my 10-year, I way outperformed the S&P 500, okay, over the last 10 years. So if you want to learn how I invest, how I beat the market consistently with the best companies in the world, so we put together the ultimate investor package for you guys. So the first package, if you're interested to learn how to invest like me, is this, the package where we combine the Whale Investor course, teaching you all my investment strategies, together with the Ultimate Investors Playbook, where you get to see how I invest every day. So whatever I buy, whatever I sell, I do a screenshot and I send you a notification. This is not a recommendation. This is not advice for you to buy and sell. This is not what we call trade alert. No, this is to share with you how I invest every day. So you're like my apprentice. You watch how I work, so you understand how I think, so that you can do it like me and even better very fast. Okay? So these are my students that I've shared many, many times. People like Chun Wee said, my investing journey was consistently losses over a decade, struggling to find a winning strategy until I discovered the value momentum investment course, which is the whale investor course, which completely changed my investment mindset and philosophy. Since he took the program, 2023, he was up 84%. 2024, he was up 103%. And people like Juper, who is in Texas, originally from Philippines, he's now in Texas. He said, in the last 4 years, he got 242% outperforming the S&P 500 after the course. People like Maxwell said, done my performance review today. Over the last 4.5 years, I annualized 20.8% return. Quite happy with that performance, right? You can see last year, he got 44%. Last 3 years, 37.9% a year. And since he started, 20% a year. All right, people like Adrian, very grateful to Adam, YY, Richard, and the team for the teaching insights and thought processes. Most importantly, managing the psychological part, right? And her first year, she got 49% return. So it can be done if you follow a system, if you follow a proven strategy that has worked for my students and myself for the last 20 years, all right? Okay, so that's the first thing, right? Next, you can turbocharge your returns with options trading. Okay, so for options trading, we have got the Options Wave Rider Mentorship. Sorry, give me a second. Yeah, we have the Options Wave Rider Mentorship, which is a course where we mentor you step by step how to open your account, place your first options trade, and master options together with Bang's Options Tactics Playbook. So again, this is the mentorship course to teach you all the 26 option strategies. And the Option Tactics Playbook is watching how Bang Fan Van trades every day. So every day he trades the market, he looks for trades, and he will show you exactly how he enters, how he exits, how he manages the trade. So again, it's like being an apprentice watching him trade in his living room, watching him every single day. That's the Options Tactics Playbook, right? So total, there are 26 powerful option strategies that allow you to profit under any kind of market condition. You can trade options on stocks, excuse me, options on ETFs, options on futures, options on oil, on gold, on Forex, and even options on cryptocurrency, if that's your thing, right? So you learn if the market is very strong, very bullish, you use strategies like bullish synthetic, something that YY talked about. And do watch his webinar. He shares how he increased his portfolio 7-fold in 3 years using bullish synthetic. And he also uses bull call spread. And if the market is going up slowly, you can use bull put spread, bull put spread extreme, and cash secured puts. This is what I use a lot. Yeah. If the market is in a bear market, what could you do to make some money? You can use bear call spreads or bearish synthetics or bear put spreads. If the market is going sideways in a range, you can sell covered calls, diagonal spreads, calendar spreads, Snipex, iron condors. This is what Bang shared in his webinar. Again, you can watch it again. There's a replay for a limited period. Go watch it. All this is covered. Well, not all, a lot of it is covered, right? Then for special events, if the company is going to announce earnings, you don't know will the stock gap up or gap down after earnings, but you know that volatility will increase to earnings. You can use the earnings sniper spread to make money from the increased volatility. Okay, So that's Bang Pham Van, the guy who has got angel looking after him, survived many assassination attempts by the Grim Reaper, okay, right? And this year, so far, year to date, he's up 852,000 net profit US. That's a combined 25% return on his $3.3 million portfolio, which has now, his portfolio hit 4 million already. This is despite him withdrawing 1 million, 1.2 million last year to buy more property in Vietnam. All right, think about it. From a Vietnamese refugee in the boat that sank twice to being a multi-millionaire. This is the great thing about capitalism. Anyone can make millions if you have the right attitude, if you have the right strategy, even if you're born in the worst circumstances. Yeah. This is YY. If you have not watched his webinar, go and watch his webinar. I shared with you about his story. Yeah, he has worked together with my company for 20 years. For the first 12 years, he was a maths tutor teaching mathematics to students in our learning centers. 8 years ago, he decided to learn how to invest and how to trade. And today, he gets amazing returns. In fact, he also helps to manage my company's accounts to trade on behalf of my company. And he has managed to help my company grow our portfolio about 30% plus for the last 5 to 6 years, right? And he 7x his own portfolio in the last 3 years. And, watch his webinar and you can learn a lot from YY as well, right? So again, we've got all these students that have, shared their performance. I'm sure you've seen this many times. I'm going to skip through it. I'm not going to go through it again. But small accounts, big accounts, people young, old, all around the world, okay? And the third way you can generate high returns is through short-term swing trading stocks, forex, or options, right? And again, we have got the stock mastery package. You've got Alson's price action manipulation package and the PAM trader playbook, where you can watch how Alson trades every day as well. All right, so every day he looks for stocks, he enters, he exits, he trades crypto, and you get all the notifications how he manages. Again, we're not giving financial advice. We're not telling people follow blindly. We're showing you how we do it. So you're like an apprentice watching, learning how a chef cooks in real time, so you can learn these skills yourself very fast. Yeah. So that's Alson, by the way. If you don't know his story, also very inspiring story. When he was in university and he graduated, his dad was not doing well, going through some business challenges. So Alson had a choice. He was offered a full-time job with a bank. If I'm not wrong, it was JP Morgan that offered him a full-time job with a very good starting salary versus another job to be a full-time proprietary trader with no salary. All right, but he will earn a percentage of the money he makes as a trader. And he decided to take the high-risk route of taking no salary, okay, no basic pay, no medical benefits, but he takes 50% of all the profit he earned in the prop trading firm, where the money is, he trades the firm's money, right? Not only did he make a living, he won the firm's top trader award for 2 years in a row. He made 1.2 million US in net profits for himself and for his firm. Okay. 5 years later, he left the firm to start trading on his own. On his own, with his own money, he has made over 6.5 million US in net profits, trading stocks, futures, forex, and crypto, and even built a 15 million property portfolio with his trading profits, right? And this year alone, he's up 50%, which is about 1.2 million, right? So Bang, myself, and Alson, we all have our different approaches in the market, and they all work for us. So you have the chance to learn from all of us or one of us. It's up to you, whichever turns you on. Some of you may say, "Oh, I love like short-term trading." Learn from Alson. I love options. Learn from Bang and myself, right? If you want to learn how to invest in great companies, you learn from me. We have got something for everyone. Yeah. Okay. So to summarize, many roads lead to financial freedom. Many roads lead to financial freedom. So these are all the different courses and subscription playbooks that we have created over the last 9 years. Actually, it's more than 9 years. We started in 2016. Yeah, 9 years, exactly 9 years, right? In the last 9 years, right? So again, the first approach is to invest in a portfolio of the highest quality stocks. Okay, so I am the principal guy teaching you through the whale investor course, okay, as well as the income investor course. And then for options, the options mentorship is taught by Bang Fan Van, YY, and myself, right? So you learn options from three of us. And then the swing trading, right? I've got my swing trading package here, and Alson also has his price action manipulation strategies over there. And of course, the income investor course, which I talked about yesterday. And we also have a property value investing course that's taught by this guy called Jeff Ong, who built his fortune in the real estate market. So if you're interested to invest in real estate, the physical real estate, you can check out the property value investing course by Jeff Ong, who himself is also a very successful fund manager, all right, who is constantly beating the markets since starting his own hedge fund. I think it's been about 3 years ago. Yeah, before that, he was a private banker with Bank of Singapore, right? So look at this chart. This is the power of compounding. So if you have a starting net worth of 50,000 today, and you invest another 12,000 a year from your savings, how much would you have in 10 years? It depends on your rate of return. So if your money is not growing, you're just putting into the bank, after 10 years, you have 170K. But if your money is growing at 5%, then you end up 243K. If your money is growing at 10%, like the S&P 500 long run, you end up with 353%. Sorry, 353,000, right? But if your money compounds at 20% or more, like me, like Bang, like Alson, then you end up with 745,000 to 1 million. Now, let me ask you this question. In all these scenarios, are you saving the same amount of money? Are you saving the same amount of money in all these scenarios? Yes or no? Yes, you're saving the same amount of money. You're saving 12,000 a year. But why is the result so different? Why is the result so different? Because of how your money grows through compounding, right? So the first lesson to learn is that, yes, it's important to save money. It's important to save money, but it's not just how much you save. It's not just how much you save. It is the return you can get. The return that you can get on your investment, right? Now, having said that, please be very, very careful. Are there people out there who promise you, oh, you can get 100% return a day, you can get 1,000% return a month? Are there people who say that in social media, right? So when you look at that, please use your brain. Please use your brain. Okay? If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Okay? So if people promise you outlandish returns, there's two reasons. Number one, it's a scam. And I can tell you that 99.9% it's a scam. Okay, 99.9% it's a scam. Okay, and if it's not a scam and they really can show you the 1,000% return, it shows you what they are taking extreme risk, right? They take extreme risk, and if you take extreme risk to make big return in a short time, what happened? It is not sustainable. All the money they make will all lose it just as fast. So between Bang, myself, and Alson, our goal is not to make quick, high return profit that is not sustainable. What's the point of doing that? All of us, our main goal is what? To build generational wealth, is to make sure that whatever we make is sustainable over the what? Over the long run. Does this make sense? So make sure it is sustainable. And whatever technique you use, you got to make sure it can survive through the worst bear markets and the worst market crashes and the worst recessions, because they will happen. They will happen when no one can predict, but it will happen. Okay, market, like I said, will not go up in a straight line. It will go through ups and downs. You got to make sure that whatever strategy you use, it can survive the worst crashes and get even higher eventually. Yeah. Okay. So Black Market is our biggest event for the year. It's our biggest sale of the year, where all our investment courses and playbooks, they go up to 75% off. And this sale will be ending very, very, very soon. And for those of you who enroll today, you get some additional special finale bonuses. Now, those of you who have enrolled earlier, don't worry, you're also entitled to these bonuses today. You are entitled. So no worries about that. Yeah. So what are these special finale bonuses? Let me walk you through. Okay. So the first package that we have for you is called the Investor Fast Track Mentorship. So this is the ultimate package that includes 3 products. What are the 3 products? First, it includes the Whale Investor course, where you learn all my strategies of how to invest in the best companies in the world and how to buy them at undervalued discounts. So this is a lifetime course, on demand, watch anytime, anywhere, lifetime access. Then you get the Stock Oracle Pro Plus access. This is the software that can help you to analyze stocks very quickly using our proprietary software. So this is a 1-year access. This is the normal retail price of the Whale course and the annual Stock Oracle. Okay. Third, you also get 1-year access to the Ultimate Investors Playbook. So this is where you get notified of all my buys and sells, including my option trades. You get access to my private UIP chat group, and you get to deep dive my portfolio every month. And basically, I do all the research for you. Right? I update all the charts, the intrinsic value, all my buy levels every month, so that you cut short your research time. So this usual retail price is 1,009 a year. Okay. So 1,899, 497, 1,009. Yeah. So the total retail price of these 3 products on their own, a la carte, is 4,296 US dollars. And for this Black Market sale, you can grab it at only 1,568 US dollars for all 3 products. Okay. Now, usually the UIP and Stock Oracle is 12 months, right? But you get extra 2 months for the UIP and extra 3 months for Stock Oracle Pro Plus. So total is 14 months for UIP, 14 months, and for Stock Oracle is 15 months subscription, and you get the instant access, right? Again, those of you who signed up earlier, before today, you will also get these bonuses. You're also entitled to these bonuses. So scan the QR code on the left, click on the link below to grab this offer now. Okay, this is for the Investor Fast Track Mentorship to invest in the best companies in the world, the best stocks, right? So this is my course, which I teach personally. Some extra enrollment bonuses. You get a free lifetime report, my free monthly newsletter. You get additional 2-month access to UIP and additional 2-month access to Stock Oracle, which I mentioned earlier on. Okay. Plus, you'll get a 3-hour live workshop from myself. You get a 2-hour Stock Oracle onboarding workshop, as well as an extra 1-month access to Stock Oracle Pro. So sorry, I'm wrong. It's not 14 months, it's 15 months as well. Okay. So once again, 1568, you can grab this offer. All 3 products, scan the QR code on the left, link below. Total, you get 14 months for UIP and 15 months for Stock Oracle. You can never get this deal after this. After this is over, no more. Okay, no more already. All right. So this is the crazy deal of once in a year. All right. Can grab it right here. Again, those of you who have enrolled earlier, you are entitled to these bonuses. Don't worry, you are entitled. You get it. Okay. Okay, next, options. Options, yeah. So options, the first bundle is what we call the Ultimate Options Bundle. This includes the Options Wave Rider Mentorship, which is learning everything about how options work, all the different option strategies, and getting Bang's options tactics playbook to see how Bang trades every day. Okay. So what does this include? It includes the options Iron Shell and Iron Striker courses. These are lifetime access on-demand courses. So these are all pre-recorded, like Netflix. Watch anytime, anywhere, lifetime access, where you learn all the different option strategies that we use. Okay. Next, you will get 1-year access to our online mentorship, which are all the live webinars. So these are the live webinars here, the monthly e-gathering and live trade hunt by Bang, monthly strategy deep dive webinars, special options traders discussion group, quarterly trading psychology class by myself, and onboarding workshop for beginners. So this is usually $2,997 US a year. Okay, this 1-year access. This is lifetime. Okay. And then for the options tactics playbook, again, it's a 1-year access where you get to watch how Bang trades every day. That's usually $2,005 US per year. Yeah, so total a la carte retail price is $5,497 for this ultimate options bundle. If you enroll today, you get it at only $2,977 US dollars. Okay, so total you will get extra 3 months online mentorship and extra 3 months option tactics playbook. So total is 15 months access, not 1 year, 15 months access. Okay. Now, bear in mind that the option tactics playbook, this one, okay, listen carefully. This option tactics playbook, the 15 months starts 1st January 2026. Doesn't start now. Huh? Why? Because when you enroll today, you will get this options mentorship today. This is immediate. Because we want you to learn all the option strategies first. We give you about 30 days, at least 30 days to learn all the techniques first. Then you watch how Bang trades live every day from 1st January next year. Because if you get this right now, we activate right now, you won't know what he's doing. You won't understand how he's trading because you've not learned it yet, right? So this only starts 1st January 2026. This starts now. Okay, and both are 15 months, all right? So I already covered this. And if you enroll now, you get extra 1-month access to Options Wave Rider. Yeah, I already covered this. Okay, cool. So $2,997 US dollars. Again, you can scan the QR code, click on the link to grab this ultimate options bundle. Again, I'll do a Q&A in a short while, so hang on. Don't worry, any questions that you have, I'll do a Q&A, and Nazri, who is the head of customer service, will be coming up here to also answer all your admin enrollment questions. Yeah, so don't worry about that if you've got some questions in your mind. Okay, now some of you may not want, or you may not need this option tactics playbook. You say, Adam, I just want to get the options wave rider mentorship. I don't need to see how Bang trades every day. Okay, so for that one, you can just get the options wave rider mentorship by itself, which is the both the options Iron Shell and Iron Striker courses, lifetime access on demand, plus the online mentorship. So the usual price of this is $2,997. And when you enroll today, it is total 1,498. So total 15 months. Okay, 15 months mentorship at 1,498. Right? And so again, the courses which are pre-recorded, you got lifetime access to all the courses. Watch anytime, anywhere. But the live mentorship, the live webinars is a 15-month mentorship live webinar. Okay, so this is the live mentorship only, 1,498 US dollars. Finally, we have got the Alson's price action manipulation strategy. So this is for short-term trading. If you want to learn how to be a great swing trader, to trade stocks, forex, futures, cryptocurrencies using price action manipulation, then the ultimate PAM bundle is for you. So the ultimate PAM bundle includes the price action manipulation package courses. Again, lifetime access, plus the PAM Trader Playbook. This is an annual membership where you watch how Alson trades every day, like an apprentice, watching how he gets in, how he gets out. So it's like watching him trade in his own room. All right. So for the price action manipulation courses, there's level 1 and level 2. These courses are pre-recorded, lifetime access on demand, watch anytime, anywhere. The usual retail price is $5,676 US dollars. The PAM Trader Playbook is a 1-year access, usually at $1,009. So if you add it together, you total is $7,576 US dollars. For black market, you'll get additional 2 months subscription to his PAM Trader Playbook. So total 14 months subscription to Alson playbook. Plus, you get a 2 times 3-hour live workshop with Alson as well on live market analysis and review of potential trade setups. To grab this offer, it's only $2,005. This is a steal. This is a steal to learn all these things. So again, this includes the lifetime access to the courses that Alson teaches and the playbook where you watch him trade every day, how he trades every day. That's total 14 months access to that, right? So scan the QR code. Again, click on the link. Now, if you just want to get the price action manipulation package, if you don't think you need the PAM playbook, you say, okay, I don't need this. Okay, I just want to get the course itself. Then for the course itself, you can see again, you have got the level 1, level 2 course, lifetime on demand. And the usual price for the course itself is 8,176 together with all these bonuses. Okay. And you get again the 2 3-hour workshops with him live. and that is only 1419. Okay, 1419 for the price action manipulation mastery package, right? Without the uh, playbook. Yeah. Okay, so some additional goodies for you guys for being here today and listening to this finale webinar. You get a copy of my book, Profit from the Panic. This is one of the 16 books I've written, and I wrote this book right during the great financial crisis of 2008, 2009. And in fact, this was the book that made me famous because I was one of the few people that called the near bottom of the financial crisis, right? And this book was a bestseller in all the bookstores at that time, right? This was many, many years ago, right? And you also get a chance to win attractive prizes in our lucky draw, right? Okay, so if you want to grab other courses besides what I mentioned, again, go to this QR code and you can get a lot of the other products, a la carte if you want, or other packages, up to 75% off. Yeah, so again, this is the biggest sale of the year and it's ending very soon. So grab it while you have the chance. Yeah, okay. Now, if you want any other bundle, my team is there behind the scenes and they can help you out, right? So as you guys are deciding which course is the best for you, which package is the best for you, and you're enrolling right now, let me share with you a few more important things, and then I'll do a Q&A session, as well as Nasri will come up and do a customer service Q&A as well, all right? So I'd like to ask you a question that my mentor asked me many, many years ago, right? And this question really changed my life. And the question is, where will you be? Where will you be 5 years from now? Where will you be 10 years from now? Think about it. Will you be financially free? Will you be financially secure, doing what you love, working for fun? All your expenses are covered. Or in 5 to 10 years, will you be struggling financially? And you find that, oh, AI take my job or retrench. Where will you be 5 to 10 years? And I can tell you that where you are 5 to 10 years from now, do not leave it to chance. Do not put it in the hands of your boss, or do not just leave it in the hands of the government. Because where you are 5 to 10 years from now depends on the decisions we make today. It's in the moment of our decision that we shape our destiny. How do you believe that one decision we make, one choice we make, can alter our destiny greatly? How many of you believe that? One decision we make can alter our destiny completely, yes or no? And if I look back, right, my grandfather at that time, he tried to motivate all the grandchildren, to invest in the market and all that, right? And there were so many grandchildren. I'm just one of many grandchildren. And I'm one of the only ones that got inspired. The rest didn't really get inspired, right? But it's because I decided that yes, I want to learn how to master money. I want to learn to invest. And I started at 17 years old, right? And again, it was not easy because the first few years I went in circles because I had no mentor. I made a lot of mistakes, but because of that decision, that's how by 33 I was financially free. And that's how by now 51 years old, I do what I love every day. I spend my time the way I want to spend every day. And again, I'm not saying this to impress you. I'm not saying this to show off you, but I'm saying this to inspire you that it can happen. But it will not happen by chance. It will not happen by accident. Okay. Financial freedom is something that if you want, you have to decide today, I want it. You have a plan and you take massive action. You take massive action and you will get there step by step. Okay. So I can't force you to learn this. I can only inspire you. I can only enlighten you. I can only open the door. But it is only you and only you that can decide to take the step into the door towards your financial destiny. All right. So I'd like to share with you a last few things that really inspired me a lot. Okay. Uh, how many of you have heard of this basketball player called Shaq? I'm sure you've heard of Shaquille O'Neal. Okay. Now, here's an interesting statistic. Do you know that 60% of NBA players go broke after 5 years of retirement? Now, these NBA players, they make millions a year, and 60% of them, they go bankrupt after 5 years of retirement. Now, not just NBA players, a lot of athletes, right? Whether it's football or whatever, right? Why? Why do you think most of them go broke? And not, by the way, not just athletes. How many realize that a lot of artists, how many of you have heard of Al Pacino? You know Al Pacino, Nicolas Cage, Kevin Spacey? They made millions and millions and they are broke today. Nicolas Cage is broke. Al Pacino is broke. Michael Jackson, when he died, was deeply in debt. Who else? Mike Tyson, after making hundreds of millions, was broke. Why? Because it's not how much you earn that's important. It's not how much you earn that's important. It's how much you keep and how you grow what you keep that's important. And many of these people were very good at making money from their career as an artist, as an athlete, but they trusted the wrong people to manage their money, and these people cheated them, or these people mismanaged their money. It was all gone. In fact, how many of you know friends or family who they trusted their money with someone, some financial manager, hey, manage my money for me, all right, or whatever, and it was all gone? How do you know that, right? So, to me, right, I don't trust anyone with my money. I don't trust anyone with my money except myself, okay? Now, Shaq was different, okay? After Shaq retired from basketball, his net worth increased 4 times since he retired. And he now makes more money than during his 19-year basketball career. Do you know what is the difference? Do you know what is the difference between Shaq and all the other athletes? The difference is when he retired, he said, I spent so many years building my skill in basketball. I now must build my skill in money management and investing. So what did he do? He went to look for role models. And he went to look for this guy. He found a few role models. One of his role models was Ray Dalio, who was a hedge fund manager. And he also seek advice from Warren Buffett. And they taught him about money, they taught him about business. And he spent as much time learning about investing than he did basketball. And that's why today he's 4 times richer than he was after his MBA. Right? Now, here's a name from the past. Any of you remember this guy called Kenny G? If you're old enough like me, you remember Kenny G. Now, Kenny G was one of the most famous saxophone players, right? Now, do you know that Kenny G is one of the richest musicians in the world? Okay. Now, Kenny G sold 75 million albums, the most of any instrumentalist. But do you know that more than half his net worth, which is he's worth over $100 million, he's worth over $100 million, more than half his net worth came from stock trading and investing. Think about it. Okay. So my point is this: you may be a great doctor, you may be a great musician, you may be a great athlete, but guess what? We need a plan B. We need a plan B because the day will come that for some reason you can't work anymore or you don't want to work anymore. Or for some reason you can't play music anymore. Or for some reason you're too old to play sports anymore. You need a plan B to make sure that your wealth and income continues. Make sense? We all need a plan B. Okay. I said this a few webinars ago. Is investing risky? Yes or no? Yes, investing is risky. if you don't know what you're doing. In fact, everything in life is risky if you don't know what you're doing, including getting married. In fact, getting married is the riskiest thing you can do in your life. I tell that to my two daughters because I say, if you marry the wrong person, you will suffer for eternity, okay, or for decades, and you can lose half of everything you have, right? Now, think about it, right? Is swimming risky? It depends. If you have never taken swimming lessons and you jump into the water, you try to swim yourself, of course it's risky. You're going to drown. Is driving risky? Same thing. If you have never taken driving lessons and you try to drive down the expressway, of course it's risky. You're going to get into a bad traffic accident, yes or no? Same thing with investing. People who try to invest, people who try to trade without learning how to do it properly, it's like jumping into the ocean without swimming lessons. It's like driving a car without driving license. It's a matter of time they're gonna get into a bad financial accident or drown financially. Now, how do you know people in your life who said, I don't need to learn how to invest and trade? How hard can it be? Listen to my friend, listen to my broker, watch social media, go and just buy this stock, buy that stock. And in the end, they lost their hard-earned money. How do you know people like that? I know a lot of people like that, right? Unfortunately, my own parents, okay? Now, my parents, my dad is a very smart guy, but he's not a money guy, right? My dad's background is in arts and creativity. My dad graduated with a fine arts degree. And at a time in the 90s, okay, he listened to his banker. Okay, actually, my dad very poor thing lah. In the 90s, he listened to his banker and my stepmother at that time. They put all their money into this technology fund. All right. And at that time, they wouldn't listen to me. They say, my son, what does he know? He's so young, stupid son. Right? They don't listen to me, right? And even when I warned them that time, the dot-com bubble, when things were overpriced, they say, son, right? When the whole thing collapsed, their tech funds lost 90%. And then after that, when my dad slowly built up his money again, he listened to his private banker, who is a very hot young girl. I don't want to mention which bank, all right? And then he lost another million, right? And then he said to me, he complained to all his friends, he said that it would have been cheaper keeping his relationship manager as a mistress. He said, if I kept her as a mistress, I think I lose less, right? I see my own parents wipe out because they don't have the skill, right? Then after that, then my dad listened to me. And then I helped my dad make back millions after that, right? But after he went through all that agony, right? So I tell people that, the greatest risk, but the greatest risk is not investing. The biggest risk you can do for yourself and for your family is not to invest. Because if you don't invest and you leave all your money in the fixed deposit, then it's a guarantee that 10, 20 years from now, when you can't work anymore or you don't want to work anymore, what happened? Your wealth will not grow fast enough to be able to cover your expenses in the future because of inflation. How do you know people today who are in their late 60s or 70s or 80s? That because they did not invest enough in their early years, today they find that they can't afford to live comfortably in Singapore or in the US or in Australia or in Europe because things are so damn expensive. They say, my God, I can't afford it anymore. Have you know people like that? Right? So we don't want to be in that situation. Okay? And that's why for me, I always had this fear because I saw what my dad went through. Our son saw his dad go bankrupt. We saw that. And I believe that it's better to learn from other people's mistakes. And that's why I've always been very paranoid that I got to save, I got to invest, I got to learn. And that's why today I'm able to have the comfort and the freedom that I want. Okay? So do this for yourself and pass it on to your children and teach the same values to your children. Today, I'm very proud. My two girls, they work part-time besides studying in the university. And the majority of their money that they earn from their part-time work, they save and they are also actively investing. And by the way, my two daughters are their investment account higher than me this year. right? So something I'm very proud of. Okay. So anyway, so with that, great. Now, I'm going to pass the session on to Nazri, who's going to come up and he's going to share with you, or rather, he's going to answer some of your admin Q&A sessions, guys. Right? So, okay. Before that, I got some time. So let me just answer some questions before Nazri comes up. That you may have. So you've got questions, you can ask it in the Q&A tab, and I'll just look at the questions coming in. Give me a sec. Huh? Hopefully, it's been an enriching webinar for you guys for this finale. Okay, first question. Shun Mei, which book written by Adam, which he feels is most important for an investor? I've written total about 5 books on investing, but the last book I wrote was 10 years ago. Okay, so I would say this like there's no point reading my books because it's 10 years old. Okay, so all my latest strategies and methods are in my courses. Okay, the books are more for what's the word for it? Sentimental reasons, right? But because the markets have evolved so much, my book that I wrote, the books that I wrote more than 10 years ago. So I wouldn't read it to get the latest, right? Yeah. Can Adam share how to motivate a university student to take initiative to learn, invest, and trade? Expose them to books and all that. I remember that again. What inspired me was my granddad, but not just my granddad. But I read a lot of books last time, like this book called The Millionaire Next Door, and a lot of books that inspired me about financial management. Right, so expose them to these books, and for my own kids, when my kids were about 9, 10 years old, I played Monopoly with them, right? And from Monopoly, I taught them about passive income, about investing, about ROI. And I also played this game called Cash Flow with them. Cash Flow is a game from Robert Kiyosaki, but Kiyosaki now has gone a bit funny. He says a lot of weird shit. But he had a very good game. And I played this game with them called Cash Flow, where they learn again about passive income, about assets, about liability. So the best way to teach kids is through games. Oh, by the way, my company, we are launching our first investment course for kids. Well, not really kids, but between 15 years old to 20 years old. All right. But it's not online, it's a physical course. It's a live physical course. It'll be over 3 days, if I'm not wrong. Okay. And it's taught by YY, who is our resident trainer as well. Okay. So if you're interested, if you got kids between 15 and 20 years old, you can email to us at support@piranhaprofits.com and we'll let you know, right? So we just started this. Got a lot of my students say, Adam, I want to start teaching this to my kids. So we thought, okay, let's create a program for kids 15, 20 years old, teaching them the basics of how to start investing, right? But again, it's not online, it's a physical program. It'll be run in Singapore, yeah. We're conducting it, if I'm not wrong, I'll double check, but it's in January. It's in January, I believe. Okay. Um, Someone asked if I just pick the top 1% of companies, why do I need you? Okay, that's a very honest question, right? Sure, if you think that after taking the course, you can pick the top 1% of companies, then go ahead. But the trouble is, a lot of people, they don't know how to pick the top 1%. And remember, there are 4 keys to successful investing. Okay, write this down. 4 keys to successful investing. What are the 4 keys? I've talked about this in my previous webinar, in case you missed it. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, which is WWHW. The first key is you must know exactly what to buy. Okay? There are close to 5,000 companies in the US market and thousands more in Singapore, in China, in Hong Kong, right? So you must know what stocks to buy, which are the top 1%. But that's not enough. Not only must you know what to buy, you must know when to buy. You must know when to buy. And when do we buy? We buy when it is undervalued. We buy when it's undervalued. And to do that, you must know how to calculate the intrinsic value of the stock. And does the intrinsic value change? Yes, it changes all the time. A good company, the valuation would increase, right? So you must know what is the latest valuation. So in the course, you're going to learn how to value companies. And in UIP, I will do a monthly revaluation, right? So when do we buy? We buy when the price drops below the intrinsic value and it retraces to a support level. So what are these support levels? These are called technical support levels that I update monthly. So we optimize our entry levels. Then the third key is you must know how many shares to buy. You must know how many shares to buy. So no matter how great you think a stock is, you think, oh, Tesla is a fantastic stock, right? Or Nvidia is fantastic. You put all your money in one stock. Do you put all your money in one stock? Yes or no? No, never. Why? Because no matter how great you think a company is, anything can happen in the short term. Shit can happen that you can't foresee. Let's say you put all your money in Tesla, okay? And then suddenly Elon Musk get hit by a rocket and die. What do you think will happen to your stock? You probably drop 90%, right? Okay, so you must always diversify. You must always diversify your capital into several great companies. So even if Elon Musk get hit by a rocket and he died, who cares? You still have your other companies that will make up for the drop in Tesla. You get the point? Or let's say you put all your money in Apple and then Tim Cook ran away with Anwar, whatever, right? And then Apple dropped, whatever. You got to diversify, okay? And then the last key is you must know when to sell. A lot of people say, I know what to buy, I know when to buy, I know how much to buy, I don't know when to sell, I don't know when to sell. Some people sell too early. If you take profit too early, you don't let the money compound, you can never grow your wealth very much. But if you sell too late and the company deteriorates or becomes too overpriced, you also lose out on a lot of money that you've made and you wipe it out. So you must know exactly when to sell. Okay. So that's why never listen blindly to stock tips. Even if a great investor give you a stock tip, it's very dangerous. Why? Because even if you know what they are buying, you may know what they are buying, but you don't know when they buy. You don't know how much they buy. You don't know when they sell. So if you know this, but you don't know this, don't know this, in the end, you can lose money. So you got to know the 4 things. Make sense? But that's a good question anyway. Sherry is asking, what would you say to someone restructuring their assets at 47 years old with 1 million investment capital? What relative proportion of dividend stocks, ETFs, and growth stocks? So, Sherry, it really depends. Okay, there's no one formula because it depends. So, like for example, Sherry, if you are still working in a job or you have a business and you have regular income from your business, then you can still focus a lot of your portfolio on growth stocks where you're growing your wealth, right? But if you have no more job, you got no more income, let's say, or you think that in 5 years you will lose your job and no more income, then you want to have a greater proportion into income investing stocks. So it depends on many of these factors. Okay. So one size doesn't fit everything. For me personally, In my portfolio, roughly about 10% is short-term trading. 60% is in growth investing, where I compound my wealth, and the remaining 30% is in income dividend investing. So that's for me, right? And again, there's no right or wrong. For Bang, it's different, right? Bang, about 80% of his wealth is in options trading, even though he's much older than me. 80% in options trading, and 20% he invests in real estate in Vietnam. He owns, I think, 11, 12, 13 apartments in Vietnam and collecting rent. Someone like Alson, even though Alson is younger than me, Alson is younger than me, but Alson is also 70, 80% of his money is short-term trading. Okay. And then the rest, he owns real estate. He owns shop houses in Singapore. He rents it out. He got converts to a hospital. So we all have our own proportions, depends. Yeah. Do I allocate equal parts in income assets? Gene is asking. No, no, like I showed you earlier on, uh, I showed you earlier that for income assets, my income portfolio, which I went through in detail yesterday, do catch my replay of my webinar. Let me see where it is. Yeah. So for my income portfolio, it's 33% into dividend stocks, 23% into bonds, 15% private credit, and 29% into REITs. So this is my current allocation, but my plan is to increase the private credit to 20%. And the reason private credit is lower is because I only just started buying it 2 years ago. Okay. Okay, cool. So again, go ahead and enroll in which are the packages that work best for you. And let me check. I'll bring up Nazri, who is heading our customer service, to do a quick Q&A on any of your enrollment questions, yeah, and how to get started to use all the courses and all the playbooks. All right, so Nazri, over to you.
Okay, give me a moment. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right, everyone. That was actually a powerful and eye-opening session from Adam. I think many of you would agree when Adam breaks down his financial freedom formula and shows how to build a second stream of income while cutting your retirement timeline in half. It really brings the whole wealth building roadmap into focus. So basically, after today's webinar, basically it was actually a wrap up to this entire Black Market series. But before we actually close the room, I'm also seeing quite a number of admin and enrollment questions coming in. So before we close the room, let me take a few minutes to actually address the key questions many of you guys are asking, and just to make sure everyone is clear. Yep. Okay, let me see. So question from Katie, what exactly do we get in the Investor Fast Track Mentorship? Okay, let me... Okay, so when you join the Investor Fast Track Mentorship, right, you'll get 3 core components, okay? Firstly, you'll get the Will Investor course, which is Adam's on-demand course, which teach his value momentum investing strategy to help you find undervalued stocks and time your entries for long-term profits. For this course, you get lifetime access to all lessons and tools, okay? The second core component, it's called the Ultimate Investors Playbook, as Adam frequently mentioned as UIP. So UIP is where Adam's premium, it's a premium annual subscription where Adam shares monthly stock research, portfolio updates, and market insights, complete with deep dive videos and real-time trade notifications. And if you sign up today, okay, on top of the finale bonus, okay, you'll get, if you sign up today for UIP, you'll get 14 months of full access as part of the mentorship, okay? So Will Investor, first core component, it's for a lifetime. For the UIP, if you sign up for the Investor Fast Track Mentorship, it's a subscription service. However, for the Black Market, you'll have access to 14 months, okay, instead of 12. And last, core components, it's the Stock Oracle Pro Plus. It's our AI-powered stock analysis platform that lets you evaluate and track US stocks using Adam's proprietary valuation and momentum metrics. So again, if you sign up today, as Adam mentioned, on top of Finale bonus, instead of 12 months to this Stock Oracle Pro subscription, you'll get 15 months in total. Okay, so will investor cost will be lifetime. UIP would be 14 months access. Stock Oracle Pro Plus would be 15 months access. Okay. So for this investor fast track mentorship, not only you will be getting the education, you will be getting the mentorship and also the tools. Okay, so everything you need to invest confidently the way actually Adam does it. Okay. So as I mentioned, Stock Oracle Pro Plus is 15%, 15 months. And you'll have also, on top of the bonuses, which is 14 months for UIP and 15 months for Stock Oracle Pro Plus, you'll be invited to the 3-hour workshop with Adam Khoo, tentatively held in, will be in Feb 2026. And then you also have access a 2-hour Stock Oracle onboarding workshop with our Piranha Profit coach, will be held in February 2026 as well. So basically, here's what I mentioned just now. Everything that is the 3 core components under the Investor Fast Track Mentorship, the Whale Investor for a lifetime, Stock Oracle Pro Plus, you'll get 15 months if you sign up today for this bundle. Ultimate Investors Playbook, you'll get actually 14 months in total. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So right now, as you can see here, for this black market, we have a 63.5% off. So now it's only at 1568 for those who are interested to actually get this Investor Fast Track Mentorship. So please scan the QR code here. Okay. Question from Devon. What exactly is the difference between the Ultimate Options Bundle and Wave Rider? Okay, now moving on to the options portion. Okay, so difference, right? Okay, so let me first walk you through the for those who actually are interested in the Ultimate Options Bundle first, okay, which is our most complete and most valuable package for options trading, first and foremost. I think when you enroll into the Ultimate Options Bundle, right, you're getting everything inside of the options with Rider mentorship, okay, which is here, plus one more, which is the one additional component, which is the Options Tactics Playbook or OTP. Okay, so for those who actually purchase this bundle, you get the Options with Rider mentorship and the OTP. Do note that for the OTP access will start in 1st January 2026. Okay, so you guys must be wondering what is included. Basically, what's included in the options bundle besides the basically for the Wave Rider and also OTP. Okay, so under Wave Rider, right, what you receive is that you will receive lifetime learning for options level 1 and level 2 courses, which is called our Iron Shell and our Iron Striker courses. Okay, so you'll have lifetime access to this. These 2 levels teach all 26 strategies in the options roadmap. Okay, and once you enroll, you can revisit these lessons anytime. Okay, for life. So it's lifetime access. And under these options Wave Rider, not only will you get lifetime access to options level 1, level 2, there's actually the mentorship components to it as well, which is your 1-year life guidance to the options Wave Rider mentorship. So basically, you'll get a year full of guided support through our Wave Rider program. That includes the monthly live revision workshop, the monthly e-gathering market updates, real-time community chat, and basically for those new options traders, we'll also have the full onboarding workshop for beginners. So all designed to actually strengthen your skills, deepen your understanding, and give you a real-time world practice throughout the year. And if you decide to actually continue for options Wave Rider, the renewal is $899 USD, okay, for the 2nd year, if you decide to renew it. Okay, so for the Ultimate Options Bundle, we already have the options Wave Rider, then also which is the OTP. So what's the OTP? Okay, so there's 2 components, right? So what's the OTP? OTP, basically, it's not a teaching program, first and foremost, to let it be clear. It's where you see Bang's actual trade actions, his entries, exits, adjustments, and the setup he's actually tracking. So you receive real-time trade alerts, access to the OTP discussion channel, and a dedicated OTP monthly review where he breaks down the trades from the month and shares what's coming up next. So for OTP, we have a live market review as well, monthly. it's different from what I've actually mentioned all the mentoring session for the Wave Rider. So on top of that, you'll have the OTP live market update, and also you'll have access to the onboarding, skills revision, e-gathering that is under the Options Wave Rider. Okay. So with this Ultimate Options bundle, you're not only just learning the strategies, you're guided for a full year, of course, and you'll also be getting bang straight insights throughout the entire year. So for traders who want both education and real-world application, this is the best option. Do note once again, for those who actually purchase the Ultimate Options bundle, right, your OTP will only be provided to you on the 1st Jan 2026. So as shown in the screen here right now, for the black market offer, it's going at 45% off. Usual price is at 5497, and now only it's at 2997. Okay. So not only that, for this black market, on top of the finale bonuses that you guys actually will receive, for Options Wave Rider, you'll have 15 months access in total. And for Options Tactics Playbook, you'll have 15 months access in total as well. So if you guys are interested to actually purchase it now, on top of the discount, plus the basically you have the additional months provided to you. So scan the QR code right now and take action right now, yeah? So for Wave Rider, it's basically, let's see. Okay, so for those who wants the Options Wave Rider without the Bunks trade notification and then inside the bundle, you can actually purchase the Options Wave Rider as a standalone as well. So currently it's at 50% off, now only at 1498. So you can scan the QR code here. And for those who actually purchase the Options Wave Rider, right, you'll have 15 months access in total for this black market offer. Okay. So the Ultimate Options bundle include Options Wave Rider with the OTP, while Options Wave Rider is just the Options Wave Rider standalone. Okay. What about the difference between Ultimate PEM bundle and Price Action PEM Mastery Package? Okay, let me see if my slides is here. Okay, so I think let's start off with Ultimate PEM bundle first. Okay, so Ultimate PEM bundle, actually you'll be getting the mastery package, basically our on-demand courses for level 1 and level 2, and an additional component, which is the PEM Traders Playbook, which also will begin on the 1st Jan 2026. This is to ensure that you, the access is purposely at a later date for the playbooks, is to ensure that you actually study the strategy first. Yeah. So here's what's included. So of course, the PEM Mastery Package includes the level 1 and level 2. You receive lifetime access to both level 1 and level 2 of the PEM curriculum. Level 1 basically builds your foundation, understanding the market maker behavior. And then level 2 will also basically takes you deeper into advanced continuation and reversal patterns, momentum reading, and applying PEM across multiple markets, including stocks, forex, and crypto. Okay, you also receive lifetime access to the PEM Traders community itself, where you can continue learning from other traders, the coaches, and Adam himself. Okay, and for this bundle, not only will you get lifetime access to the courses and the community, you'll have access to 1 year of Elson's trade actions, which is the PEM Traders Playbook. This is where the basically it's for PEM Trader Playbook. Again, it's not a teaching program. It's where you step inside Elson's mind and follow his trade actions throughout the year. You'll be able to see the setups he's watching, his actual entries, exits, and adjustments, how he manages his portfolio in real market conditions. For this, you receive real-time trade notifications. On top of the community for the PEM Mastery Package, you also have the access to the PTP community on its own, okay, and attend a monthly PTP live webinar where Elson reviews the trades taken, updates the portfolio, and shares what he's preparing for the next month. Do take note again, for those who purchase the Ultimate PEM bundle, the PTP will start on 1st of January 2026. Okay. And if you enjoy the PTP, again, you can also renew your PTP access. The second year renewal is at USD 1140, which is 40% off the retail price. Okay. So of course, for this Ultimate PEM bundle, we'll also have the black market offer right now, which is going at 67% off. Usual price is at 7,576, and it's now only at 2,500 USD. If you're interested in purchasing the Ultimate PAM bundle, please scan the QR code right now. Okay. Also, as the finale bonus, I think Adam mentioned that you also receive 2 extra months of the you get access to the 2 live session with Elson, and in total for those who purchase the Ultimate PAM bundle, right, your access to the PAM Trader Playbook would be 14 months instead of 12. It will be 14 months, and then you have access to the lifetime access, and on top of the finale bonus, you have access to invited to Elson's live webinars. Okay. And then for those who actually wants the on-demand courses where you learn the strategy without basically Elson's notification, trade notification and all, you can actually purchase the PAM Mastery package as well, which is currently going on sale as well during this black market. It's going at 75% off. Usual price 5676, now only at 1419. So basically just the on-demand courses, which is PAM level 1 and level 2. And of course, you will also be invited into the live session for the finale bonus, live session for Elson's skills revision, and also live trade hunt. Yeah. And see if there's any question. Once I purchase, is the access instant? Okay, let me just share my screen here. Okay, I think I'll start off with the investors fast track mentorship first. Okay. So if you were to actually purchase the Investor Fast Track Mentorship, you would receive an onboarding email from us. Okay, this is a snapshot of what this email will look like. Basically, again, to tell you what's inside the Investor Fast Track Mentorship, your Investors Playbook, and also Stock Oracle Pro Plus and the VMI course. And then you can actually you can actually click on the button here that will leads you to our onboarding page where all the information is under one roof. It's all here. Again, this applies to all purchases. You will receive an onboarding email from us. And when you actually land into our onboarding page, the first and foremost that you need to take note is just a PSA to ensure that we avoid all the scammers that is currently we are facing, and not only us, I mean the whole world is actually facing scammers here. So just to ensure that to take note that for our trainers, our mentors, our coaches, and even our PP team itself, we won't be actually sending you a personal message or add you on Discord as friends. So for those who send you a personal message or add you as friends, please ignore them, screenshot and send it to us. They are actually scammers. So avoid actually having any interaction with them. Yeah. Okay, so for Investor Fast Track Mentorship, when you actually purchase, here are all the information that you need to take note of, all the emails on how you can actually access one. You have how you can access your Whale Investor course, which is the on-demand course. How you can access the playbook, which is the Ultimate Investors Playbook. There's also video guide here. And how you can access our app, which is our Stock Oracle Pro Plus access. So do take note for those who actually purchase the bundle, right? All three platform, basically all three access that you've been provided, which is the Whale Investor, Ultimate Investors Playbook, and also Stock Oracle Pro Plus, it's on 3 different platforms. Okay, so do take note. Example, load for a while, give me a moment. So for Whale Investor course, you'll be logging in under this website whereby you actually have access to all the on-demand session that is being recorded here. Okay. And for Stock Oracle Pro Plus, again, a different platform. Basically, here is what the platform will looks like. Give me a moment while it loads. Should have access to this. All right. And then lastly is for your Ultimate Investors Playbook. The access is on a different platform. You have access to this. So you can start with the starter guide and see and watch all the videos that is being uploaded there. Yeah. And for those who actually purchase the Ultimate Options Bundle, is the same thing again. You actually receive an onboarding email from us, which includes all the information here, what is included in your options bundle. Also, its own onboarding page, whereby we'll tell you how you can actually access the Wave Rider portal. Okay. where you can access the Options Wave Rider portal, where you have access to the on-demand courses, the replay of previous webinars is all under this portal. So just take a look at that. And then on the 1st of January, when you have access to OTP on how you can actually access the playbook. So will be held into two different platforms. One for the Wave Rider portal, which is in another platform, while Playbooks is in another platform. Let me show you an example. So for Wave Rider, right, once you actually log in on how you can actually see all the on-demand course videos and all that stuff, it's under here. You'll have access to this Options Wave Rider mentorship portal. What's included in this portal comes along with the Iron Shell and also Iron Striker, level 1 and level 2. Here are all our on-demand courses where you can actually learn the strategies can be found here. And then all the past recordings for the level 1 strategy revision and also the onboarding webinars, it's uploaded under the Options Explorer webinar recordings. And then for level 2 strategy skills revision that we held live, for all the recordings is uploaded here. Okay. And of course, for all this hand-holding mentorship session that is conducted live via Zoom online, okay, nearing to the date 1 week before, we'll actually send out an Discord notification to inform you guys that, okay, we have this session that is coming up soon. By now, you would have received our Zoom invitation to all these basically our webinars. So do take note that you actually receive this special link that is sent to you via email. We're going to notify our students and subscribers on Discord. And on top of that, if you want to see the forecast of what is the schedule that is in Wave Rider, you can actually go under the webinar schedule. All the schedule is uploaded here. You can actually just take a look. Okay. Not to worry for those, again, for those who can't attend the session live, all the session in either Wave Rider or all this live session that we've conducted in Prina Profits, it's recorded and uploaded to the portal as well. So for the webinar recordings for Wave Rider will be uploaded into the relevant portals. For OTP as well, for those live session that is going to help monthly, we're going to record it and upload to a portal. Okay, so that's for Options Wave Rider. And then again, for the playbooks, it's on the different platform. It will be under here, under this platform, where again, there's actually, okay, give me a moment. Yeah. Where again, there's actually starter guide, where you can actually see the videos on the objective or what to expect for this OTP. Everything is under here for OTP. This will only be accessible to you for those who actually make the purchase of the Ultimate Options Bundle on 1st of January 2026. Okay? Can? Then of course, I think for those who just purchase the Options Wave Rider without the OTP, just the Options Wave Rider alone, you'll have a separate on-demand email, onboarding email that's being sent to you, and a separate onboarding page as well. Again, it's all here. Okay. And then lastly, for those who actually purchase the Ultimate PAM bundle, again, you'll have access to the PAM Mastery Package course, which is an on-demand course, level 1 and level 2, and also for the PAM Traders Playbook that will be provided to you on the 1st of Jan 2026. So again, the two will be on a different platform. For the on-demand course will be on another platform, Playbooks is on another platform. You'll have basically all the information is under the onboarding page. How you can access our courses, you can actually see the instructions here, and playbook access, which is the PAM Traders Playbook subscription will access of 1st January, will be here. Okay. So let me see. Yeah, for those who purchase the PAM Mastery Package or the Ultimate PAM Bundle, the immediate access would be this course, which is the Price Action Manipulation course level 1, where you can see all the videos that have been uploaded, level 1 and level 2. Yep, you should have access to this too. And then for those who purchase the Ultimate PAM bundle on the 1st of January, you'll have access to this playbook, and it's in a different platform. So here, there's also a starter guide, which you can actually just scroll around this dashboard. So everything, all the information is here. Okay. I hope this is clear. Again, for those who actually make purchase right for this black market, you on top of the bonuses, the discounts that you'll be having, You will also receive a profit from the Panic ebook, and then stand a chance to win attractive prizes. And for those who are actually to see all our courses, that is all our products that's on sale right now, you can just scan the QR code here. It will lead you to a page full of products whereby what is actually on sale right now for our black market. So you can just scan the QR code here as well. Yeah. Let me see any other questions. Let me, where is my screen? If you have any more questions, please feel free to submit in the Q&A chat. My team and I are still here to actually assist you with that, for understanding. Will all session? Yes. Again, so for those who actually for all those live webinar session, right? Even basically the finale bonuses, Adam also mentioned that they have access to the live onboarding session and also the all those other live elements to it. All the sessions are actually recorded and will be uploaded to the portal. Not to worry for those who actually missed it, not to worry. We will record it and upload it to the portal. Okay. When is the last day of the offer? The last day would be on the 5th of December, 4 p.m. Singapore time. So do take advantage of it before it's all gone. Yeah. Yep. So do take advantage of it now. The bonuses, the discounts. Currently, I'm already a Will Investor student. Is there a UIP and Stock Oracle only bundle? Yes, Moonwai, there is. My colleague will assist you with it. My colleague will send you an exclusive coupon code for you. Yep, you're welcome, Sally. Yes, and for those who, not to worry, for those, like Adam mentioned, for those who actually make purchase before this finale bonus, before this finale session, and before the finale bonuses was announced, not to worry, you'll have basically you'll have the finale bonuses as well added to your purchase. Not to worry. For those who actually make actions during this black market campaign. Yeah. Yep, you can actually see the schedule. Yes, definitely. Yep. You'll once you actually purchase the options Swift Rider, you'll be able to see the schedule in the portal itself. Yep. So you can make plans early on and mark your calendars. And not only that, 1 week before the session, we'll also notify you via Discord. Okay. Chi Sim, hi, is it bundle? I'm a Will Investor student. Yes, correct. There is for Will Investor student, there is the UIP and Stock Oracle bundle as well. My colleague will assist you with that with your exclusive coupon link. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Any more questions before I off my webcam? But don't worry, we'll still be here. If there's any more questions, just feel free to submit it. Once basically, as long as this room is still open, we'll be here to actually assist you with your inquiries. Okay, so there's no new questions coming in. Okay, I think all right, everyone. I believe that wraps up the Black Market series for this year. Again, on behalf of Piranha Profits, on behalf of all the mentors, we'd like to actually thank you for spending the past few days with us. Your energy, your questions, and your commitment to learning have made this event incredibly meaningful for all of us. Before we close this, just one last reminder, the black market offers won't be here for long. So do grab the opportunity that is presented to you right now for all the sales, the discounts, the bonuses, the finale bonuses that's provided to you. So do take advantage of it right now. Every year, myself and my team as well will receive requests to actually extend the promotion, but unfortunately, we're unable to do so. So if you're considering to join us, this is truly the best moment to take advantage of it and take action while the full value is still available. Okay? We're going to keep this room open for a bit longer. So the team will be here to actually assist with any questions that is being provided to you guys. And then, yeah, we'll still be here as well to actually answer your questions. Yeah. Once again, thank you again for being part of the Black Market 2025. And we look forward to actually welcoming many of you in our community. So enjoy the rest of your evening.